What's going on, everybody? It's Sunday nights. It is a roughly 7 o'clock Central Time where I am in Panama City, and we are doing the first ever inaugural episode of Center the Ring. That's right. Weekend. So basically, here's what we're gonna do. So the biggest thing about Center of the Ring is it's a versus. So I like Center of the Ring because when I always say in my articles and stuff like that, center the ring. This person centers the ring to do this movie, or this person or this movie center the ring. So I love that term. So I was like, let's do center the ring for the verses because that's been used in everything, and other people use verses and stuff like that. So I am using center the ring for my battle royale of movies, and this time we have Roadhouse 2024, which just hit Amazon streaming this weekend. Let me find the poster for. Well, we'll do this one. We'll do Jake. There he is, Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Elwood Dalton, the version in the 2024. And then, of course, we got this man who needs no introduction. That's right. It's the late, great Patrick Swayze, who's Dalton in the 1989 Roadhouse. So we're going to go through both of these movies. And with me, of course, is my special guest host, Shane, the action nerd Logans. Shane, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, my friend. I'm doing good.
Good. Are you excited to talk about both? Well, we we kind of
we kind of did on Friday. So.
yeah, well, we tried not to. So here's the thing. If you guys remember, Friday night we did the review of the Roadhouse 2024, but sometimes we just had to compare to get our points across. And we tried not to, but it happened occasionally. But I think we did a pretty good job. Did we not?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
we did.
yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, right now I'm loving how we both have something of Roadhouse in the background. You got the Vinegar Syndrome 4K in their background, and
I
well, you
do.
can see the metal tin poster I have. So
I don't have anything Roadhouse 2024, so my apologies to Mr. Gyllenhaal. But yeah, I thought this came with a poster actually, so I was kind of bummed when I got it, like because usually they give you like a poster too, but I didn't get one, so I guess I'll just have to get one off
see, yeah, it's like
Amazon or
mine.
something.
The Blu-ray I have didn't come with the poster because well, I got it secondhand from a local store called Entertain Mart. It's basically like what Hastings was. So
Cool. So yeah, so
Yep.
I mean, no offense to 2024 one, but like I mean, I don't have any. It just hit Amazon. And to tell you the truth, I don't want to spoil anything, but I probably will never have anything on my wall in regards to Jake Gyllenhaal and Rose. But let's talk about it, shall we? So if you're here with us watching tonight, I didn't get a chance to really advertise this one because I was supposed to do it last night. Of course, life happened, my shoulder, this and that. So I took a break and just kind of relaxed a little bit. So we're here tonight. It's Sunday. My man had a birthday party for his daughter, but he came home and he was like, "Sure, let's do this. Let's center the ring and talk about these two movies." So here's what we're gonna do, Shane. We're gonna go through. So we're gonna talk about story. So we're gonna do story wise for both movies, characters, and then of course we got to talk about the action. So each movie,
Oh yeah.
the action set pieces of each movie, and then just the overall enjoyment of both, I guess, if you will. Then at the end, you and I will pick our favorites. And of course, you watching at home, you can give us your opinions on which one you think is the better. I mean, some people out there might gravitate towards the newer one, which is fine, but we're going to give our
Yeah.
interpretations on it. Yes, you were going to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely, because I've been seeing a bunch of mixed reviews on different social medias, and people are just loving the new one, which I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was,
Yes.
and but some of these people, I'm just hoping that they're gonna realize that there was an original from the '80s, and they're gonna want to check that out.
That and we talked a little about that last time you had brought it up, that like and I had mentioned it as well in the past that like if anything, this might bring the new generation, that's kicking around now to enjoy the previous one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anything, it'll bring a new audience to the Patrick Swayze one because I'm sure there's youngins out there who aren't really familiar with Patrick Swayze. I get it,
Hmm.
it's just the way it is. I mean, we come from a different era, so we're all over, the movies of
Oh
Patrick
yeah.
Swayze and stuff like that. But there are people out there, like my daughters, like I'm pretty sure even my 16-year-old isn't familiar with Patrick Swayze at all. Just because she's 16 now, but she hasn't been watching like a lot of adult oriented movies. Probably for a couple years now. She's probably been introducing her to stuff. So yeah, so I mean, it's not anybody's fault in terms of this generation. It's just what we do as fathers to our
Oh
children.
yeah.
We need to educate these fine young
Yeah.
beings on who Patrick Swayze was, and I'd even have Sam, my daughter, watch Roadhouse with me. I mean, I've watched some R-rated movies with her. Nothing too bad. Like we watched like the John
Yeah.
Wick movies and stuff like that, and I mean, and this one isn't that. I mean, I might have her just be like, "Hey, go in the bathroom for a second," when the love scene goes on. But other than that, I mean, it's not too bad. But so, all right, so let's get started. I've talked and rambled long enough. So here we go. So centering the ring with the Roadhouses of 1989 and 2024. So let's first of all go over the stories of both of them. So of course, in the 1989 original, we have Patrick Swayze's Dalton, who is the ultimate cooler in the business. He's a cooler because he's just played out fucking cool. He's in charge. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. He's been doing this for a while. And as we see him, as the movie opens up, he is cooling for a much better establishment that he goes into. And of course, we got Tillman who comes in and hires him to clean up the double deuce, which he does. And, he accepts the mission, and the rest is history. And then, of course, we got Jake Gyllenhaal's 2024 Roadhouse, which a different storyline. He's a disgraced UFC fighter. He's done no bouncing or cooling at any rate. And in terms of character, I mean, I'll just go. I mean, we'll talk about it later too. But Patrick Swayze's Dalton is definitely much more in control of his universe than Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton is in the
Yeah.
2024 version, which again, which is good. So let me hear your thoughts on the stories from both movies.
Well, I enjoyed the original story because, like they say, he's the cooler. He's the guy in charge of all the bouncers. Flat out tells Tillman, "I'm the boss. You pay
Right.
me this much money a night, and 5,000 up front, $500 a night, and I just shows him he's the boss." And he goes around through the movie basically proving who he is and that he is the boss, that he's the man. And Jake Gyllenhaal he shows up, you got a guy who's a waiter slash bartender who kind of tries to be a bouncer among him, and Jake's just like, "I'm gonna show you how to do this," and hires another guy, and kind of he's not really the cooler in that because the boss in the new one is still there. She's actually there more than Frank Tillman was in the original.
Hmm.
Uh, but other than that, Jake, yeah, he was kind of inexperienced with the stuff, but he was trying to give what his experience was to others. Uh, like his point of view, like the guy with the knife. It's like, okay, take one big step back and just pop him in the face.
Right.
So,
Right. So yeah. So
I'm like,
here's the go. Okay, go on. I thought you were finished.
oh,
Go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, and in the other one, they're like, "Oh, you're a team, work as a team. If one of you can't handle it, another one handle it, or join in and handle. And if the two can't handle it, a third jump in."
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, so like in terms of story, so like we got like of course this is a reimagining the 2024 one, so it's not a direct
mhm.
remake or reboot, so it's not shot for shot or it's not like there's some similarities in this one as opposed to the 1989 one, but of course it is a lot different, and it is in fact a reimagining. In terms of the story, I dug the newer one. I mean, I thought it was it was kind of like a a redemption story, to a point.
Yeah.
Because, well, he never really does get a redemption. I mean, he just kind of, he kind of just does what he does, and he does take care of the villains in the movie, and then he goes on his merry way at the end. So, but it's not like he's vindicated at all. He still has his issues and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. Because like he doesn't get the girl, at least not, sequel wise, we don't know, but I thought it was cool
Oh
that he
yeah.
was like John Wayne and he rode off into the sunset, problems in tow. And of course we have Patrick Swayze's version where like, it's never in doubt with Patrick Swayze. Like, I mean, even when like he gets hit or he gets cut, he's bleeding. It's like you still know. It's like, not everybody's perfect. He's gonna
Oh,
get hit too. But his character is, he's like the warrior poet. Like he's the
mhm.
philosophical bouncer or cooler, as opposed to Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, who is just like, I called him a storm in waiting, because like, he's got all this pent up anger, where, Patrick Swayze's Dalton is, he's just totally in control. Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, he's just ready to explode. And of course we see it happen later on in the last third of the movie, where you just, people start dying and stuff like that. And he just unleashes the inner beast within him, because he's had enough, and he's like, and I compared it to the Hulk, it's like, don't make him angry, and he even says it, you should have made me angry. And I was like, oh, he's gonna Hulk out, and sure he does, hits the guy in the throat, and he watches him die as he falls into the pool and drowns, which I thought was badass. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
so in terms of story, I mean, I really don't have a favorite. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite storyline, I'd probably be I'd actually go with the 2024 one, because I like how he's embittered, and he's living out of his car. He was at the top of his game one time, and so that puts an air of mystery to the proceedings. Where in 1989's version, it was just like, yeah, this is going to come through. He's just going to clean house, and the credits are going to
Mhm.
roll. So I kind of like the fact that, Gyllenhaal's Dalton was damaged to the point where, Patrick Swayze's Dalton was was anything but damaged. I mean, the
Well,
only time
he
he
did
was
have
damaged
his
is when he got it physically. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he was slightly damaged in the original when you know, tormenting himself over killing a guy in
He
self-defense.
was, but
Uh,
it didn't. He
but
really
it
didn't.
didn't really affect him.
It did not, like, not in terms of Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, where like
Oh yeah.
he, it took over. Like, it was just like, and it's like, like I said, he was like, he had the conversation with Sam Elliott, at the bar, when she went to the bathroom, and he tells it to cut it the fuck loose and stuff like that. Yeah, it is troubling him,
Mhm.
but it's not like he's gonna explode at any minute because of it. It is what it is. It happened. He's moved on. It bothers him a little bit, just, but in terms of Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, this thing is just like, it's totally eating him up from the
Well,
inside out.
like you said, they're both like westerns. I was just for some reason the Russell Crowe Christian Bale 310 to Yuma popped up. We got Swayze as like Christian Bale's character, kind of like he has stuff together. He's peaceful, but still trying to figure things out. And Jake Gyllenhaal's is like the Russell Crowe character, where he's peaceful to a point, but when the shit hits the fan, he's the guy who, okay, I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna make everybody that's in my way suffer.
That's a good
And
analogy.
that's
Yeah, I like it.
yeah.
I like it. I
So
like it.
that
That's good.
so I'd have to agree. I kind of got to agree go with the 2024 one because it's Elwood Dalton's uh origin story.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
him being it, and in the 1989 one, the original, Dalton is famous. Like everybody knows him. And then there's always the joke of, I thought you'd be bigger because everybody knows who Dalton is. And in this one, they know who Dalton is, but only as a fighter. They don't
Right.
know him as a bouncer. They don't know him as a cooler. Uh, so, and he doesn't really have the whole, like, okay, the zen out moment because he never does the whole, like, Tai Chi next to the lake or the creek that
Yeah,
he
right.
did. All we really see him do is work out and
Yes.
drink coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good point. Yeah, so like, that again, another point to compare the two, like Patrick Swayze's Dalton, he's the Tai Chi master. Like, that's probably like he's probably handled the situation of killing that guy, which was
Mhm.
self-defense. We find out, the guy pulled, when Sam Elliott tells him, he basically tells the audience what happened. Like the guy pulled a
Yeah,
gun
guy
on him
pulls a gun
because
on
he
him.
didn't know the lady he was sleeping with was married. But he's like, you got two
Mhm.
choices, or you could kill the motherfucker, so it was self-defense. So it's like, yeah, nobody would ever, no right person would ever want to kill somebody. But like if it's self-defense, like if somebody threatened my family, I would have no quorum, and would
Oh
it
yeah.
affect me later on? Of course. I mean, how can not killing somebody not affect you if you're a normal person? But you had to do what you had to do to stay alive. So, but in Jake Gyllenhaal's situation, like it was a fight. It wasn't like self-defense. Like he just went spastic in the ring, for
Oh yeah.
because he got hit, and then all of a sudden, he wouldn't stop. And then I I think that's why his Dalton feels way more guilty than Patrick Swayze's Dalton is because, you
Mhm.
know, he's probably telling himself, why didn't I stop? Why didn't I, he was on the ground. He was done,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So where Patrick Swayze's like, the guy had a gun in my face. It's like I had to, or else I'd have a bullet hole in my head. I'd be 6 feet under. So yeah. So you're going 2024 with the storyline, my friend.
Yeah, with the story, I'll go 2024.
All right. So we already kind of talked about the character of Dalton between both Jake Gyllenhaal and Patrick Swayze. Again, you got Swayze, the warrior philosopher, and Jake Gyllenhaal, the warrior Hulk, ready to bust out, ready to bust a cap in somebody's ass. Now let's talk about the other characters. Now here's where here here's where we
Oh yeah,
really
I know where
separate the
this is
men
going
from
for
the
both of us.
boys. So okay, so again, here's the thing, and I guess the defense of the Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse is it's been around way longer than
Oh yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse has been around for 3 days now. So it's like I
three
get it.
days
It's
compared to
like
35 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze's has had time to really, you know, um, you know what I'm saying? So it's like in that defense, I get it, because people will come at me and be like, well, maybe 10 years from now. It's like, yeah, but I just don't see it happen. But let's talk about the characters. So again, we got Tillman from the original, and then we got Frankie in the new one. So first of all, give me your thoughts, my friend. Ooh, we got a comment.
I liked Frankie more because she's in it more. And the actress did a great job. The character, like when Dalton goes, "Hey, where's a local hospital?" I don't care. Hey, you got a car that I can drive these guys? I don't, not for these
No,
shit.
she goes. He asks him like, "Do you?" She's like, "I don't give a shit." That's the best line ever.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
just like, "Why are you asking me that? These guys are gonna mess up my bar. Do you want me to take them to the
And
hospital?"
Tillman's like, okay, like we said, Swayze said, "I'm in charge. You hire me. I'm in charge." So he disappears. He's maybe in what the movie for a total of 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, he's there. We know he's
So
there. Yeah, where
yeah,
like
he's
Frank,
there.
like there's more interaction between Gyllenhaal and Dalton and Frankie. And I said in my review that I was digging the interaction between the two, and I
Hmm.
like Jessica Williams and what she was doing with the character.
Yeah,
Now, there's some people that came at me over the weekend and was like, "Oh, that's present day for you. They had to turn her into a woman, and not only a woman, an African American woman. I'm like, well, you just shut up. It's like that's
yeah. Just
just shut the fuck up. If you're coming at
I
me with
I
that
got
argument, you're just a freaking idiot. I mean, come on.
I got the perfect example of a gender swap that nobody really gave a shit about at all, and that would be Dune 2021, where they made Dr. Kinds of African American female, and any other iteration of the character, in the original, you got Max Van Sydow,
Yes.
and then I don't remember the name of the character from the miniseries, but they're male. In the
Mhm.
book, it's written as a male, but you didn't really hear anybody grumble at all back then, or at least I don't remember it. And people were like, it was a good movie.
Right.
So who gives a shit if the boss is a female or not? There are female bosses. Hell, my girlfriend at one time, many years ago, used to be my boss before we even thought about dating. So who cares?
Exactly. Yeah, but so again, in terms of character again. I got to get the,
Uh,
it's like early on here. It seems I'm going to be, but yeah, Frankie as opposed to Tillman, definitely a lot better
mhm.
interaction. Not that Tillman wasn't good, but he was
Yeah,
basically
no,
just there to get the party started, and then once everything happened, he was just like he was just off in the distance, just kind of
where the
watching his
hell's the
barbecue.
boss? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he's up in his office now. After Frankie, this is where it dies for the 2024. Now let's talk. Now before
Because
we go into other characters, let's talk about the villains. Now, of course, in the 1989 one, you got the iconic, the legendary Ben Gazzara as Brad Wesley, and then you got Billy Magnuson as Brant. So this is like a DOA from the beginning in my in my eyes.
yeah,
So
I
go ahead, you
I
start it.
I'm just gonna say it's Brad Wesley for
Oh
me,
my God, is it
1989,
ever?
straight up, because I don't remember like during the review, you had to tell me what Billy Magnuson's character was named.
It's
Still don't
Brant.
remember
Brant's his name. I will never forget it now.
yeah. So yeah, now I'm like, I still don't remember the name, and Ben Gazzara did such a great job, especially with the interactions with Dalton. He had more interactions with Swayze in the movie than Billy had with Jake. Uh, you could feel the intimidation coming out of Brad Wesley in certain scenes. You could, like, when he tries to bribe Swayze, and Swayze's like, not enough money. And when Billy tried to go, oh, I thought about bribing you, how much? And you're just kind of like, the what? Or the whole like how his introduction I thought was relatively stupid. Like I'm gonna be on choppy water on a boat getting shaved by a straight razor, and I'm just gonna beat the shit out of the ship captain because he can't handle the chop. And it felt more like he was a whiny bitch when it came to things. When Brad Wells Wesley was like, that didn't work. Here's the next thing that might work. But Billy's character was, wait, where's this guy? Oh, he's still in the hospital. Well, what the hell are you guys gonna do now?
Yeah,
And
right.
then, like, when the character's dad is constantly calling him, I'm like, oh God, that's one of those characters that he's living off of daddy's money and living off of daddy's title and still trying to be the intimidation, but can't live up to it.
Right, right. Yeah, so again, like obviously Ben Gazzara, like not physically intimidating. Like, he's an older man,
Yeah.
but never judge a book by its cover, and it's what's inside and how intimidating is, like his personality wise and like how he has this town in the grip in his grip and everything. He's badass in that sense where Billy Magnuson's again, no offense to the actor, but
Oh,
Brant,
yeah.
like you said, you called him a whiny bitch, right? Which is what I called him in the review. He's just daddy's boy, And actually, I kind of wanted to see his dad because it's probably like Brad Wesley,
Yes.
his dad, and because it looked like he was the one that was like calling the shots
Hmm.
from the prison. And of course,
Well,
everybody's saying, "Oh, if there's a sequel, guess what's going to happen?" Well, obviously, I would assume that would be a good
yeah,
storyline.
we're
Yeah. Go on.
no, but no, I was just thinking because even it's like Brad Wesley actually had a fight at the end of the movie. Where it was a one-sided fight, really. But in this one, Billy was like, "No, nope, I'm gonna be a bitch, and I'm gonna kidnap somebody, and then I'm gonna run away when the shit hits the fan, and I'm gonna basically beg and plead for somebody else to take care of Dalton instead of trying to do it myself."
Right.
Even though the one time he tries to do something, it's a spear gun and he misses. And
Yep.
Jake just gets pissed. A spear gun? You tried to shoot me with a fucking spear gun? And he goes after him, and you just see him run away when, Brad Wesley was like, all right, I'm just gonna add in another shotgun shell or grab another gun. He was already prepared. Yeah,
Right.
that's really I think this was supposed to be the scene of like showing some sort of intimidation in the movie, which for me was actually Jake's character intimidating Billy's character when it's supposed to be the other way around. And I
Exactly.
loved Frankie shit going, where'd you get your shitty shit suit? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
like they're
think it was
making fun
more
of
of
him.
a,
It's like they're like,
oh yeah,
yeah, it's like, go home." Go to your
Yeah,
mansion. Go buy a hooker. It's like why are you here? It's like yeah. So in
yeah,
terms of
exactly.
villains, yeah. In terms of the main villain, yeah, definitely no brainer. Ben Gazzara all day. Brad Wesley definitely, you know, overshadows Billy Magnuson's Brent. Now, of course, we got Daniela McClure as Ellie, the doctor in this one, and then we got the wonderful Kelly Lynch as Doc in the original one. So let me have you start this one too. What do you think of the two love
I'm
interests?
gonna have to go with Kelly Lynch,
Mm-hmm.
because she had more screen time for one. They actually
That's true. Yeah.
built built up the love story between her and Dalton. Uh, she didn't come off like I hate you within the first 5 minutes of meeting you. Basically, Ellie's character bitches that Dalton brought in the guys that he beat the shit out of because, oh, that means somebody else who deserves actual help isn't gonna get it. And I'm looking around and I'm like, your waiting room was only full with the guys that Dalton beat up. There's nobody else there. So, I did, how she was like, "Oh, the boat's my ex-boyfriend's," and Doc was actually showing up to Dalton's work, seeing him do that, and going out with him, and they established it. And you know, I it's weird. I've always had like a slight little like fan crush on Kelly Lynch. Uh, was before I saw this movie, but after I saw her on Law and Order, because in Germany, when one of the few shows we had was Law and Order, and I was like, oh, who's this really pretty blonde woman? And she does a great job whenever she pops up in his stuff. Daniela McCord, I've seen Fast X. She's maybe in 5 minutes of the movie. 10 minutes tops. The Suicide Squad, she did great as the rat catcher too.
She was. Yeah,
But
she did good in
I
that one.
she did what she could with what little she was given for this movie because she wasn't a focus. The romance wasn't a focus of the movie. Like in the original, it was a focus. It was a subplot point, and in this one, it was like, oh shit, we got to do something to make Dalton seem more human instead of just like gorilla-like.
Right. So
So
yeah,
for
so
me,
I'm
it's Kelly Lynch.
same way for me. Like yeah, and again, no disrespect at all to Daniela, lovely lady,
Yeah,
actress wise,
lovely lady. She did a great
she's got a
job.
big career ahead of her and everything. But yeah,
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of love interest, and I don't even need love interest in my movies, like especially now, like I could care less about love. Like love is the last thing. I just want to see killing. If that doesn't sound morbid, I don't know what does. But yeah, Kelly Lynch, like her doc, like this, and I'm not saying you have to have a sex scene. We all know there's the infamous sex scene between her and Patrick Swayze's Dalton in the original, and because it's the 80s and that's what you have to do. It's like you got to have the sex scene, you have to have the gratuitous sex scene, but like in the 2024 version they felt forced,
hmm
like we need to have the love interest. We can't have this movie without having somebody fall for Dalton, Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton, and you said it exactly. Like she doesn't really show up like Kelly Lynch's doc. Like she comes to the bar, and they go out on dates, and like not
yeah.
more than one in the movie, and it's like they established their repertoire, if you will. And here, like in the new one, like they just have that one cheesy where they go out on the boat and then they're in the sand dune or
They're making
whatever.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they just kiss. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet, And it's like, then after that, it's like, then we learned that her father's the crooked sheriff, Joaquin Delameda, which again I said in the review was forced. So that was just something to
yeah.
throw in, just to make sure that okay, all right, we got Brant, but he's useless. So let's throw the sheriff in
hmm
because now he's a crooked sheriff, so he can do something to get
He,
against Dalton, that Billy Magnuson's character cannot. But going back to the love interest, yeah, I got to go with Kelly Lynch all day on that one because one, like
uh,
they're both attractive ladies, but of course I
oh yeah, very
gravitate
much
towards
so.
Kelly Lynch's style a little bit more. But yeah, they set that up a lot better than they did in this
Oh yeah,
one. And I'm saying minus the sexy. Don't even have to have them naked and rolling
oh
around and
yeah.
everything. They just their chemistry is a lot sweeter and a lot better than
Mhm.
the two in the newer one.
It felt natural.
Yeah.
One thing I will defend for the 2020 for the Ellie character is, in the original, she sees Dalton kill somebody and she's horrified at that, because she's a doctor. And, next time we see her, she hates Dalton. I hate you. You're worse than anybody else. And then at the very end, oh, Dalton, I love you.
Yeah, she just shows up and
And that was
hugs
like a
him after Brad
uh-huh.
Wesley gets
And
wasted.
then in this one, spoilers for it. Sorry, people, if you're watching this, you're gonna get spoilers.
Oh,
But
yes, I'm
the
sorry,
Ellie, yeah,
spoilers. Yeah, you cannot do this without spoilers. So, if you have
yeah,
not
yeah.
seen Roadhouse 2024, then watch this later after you've seen it. There you go. There's my
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, stop watching us, go watch the movie, and then come back.
yeah.
But yeah, in that one, the Ellie character sees Brant dead, sees what she thinks is a dead Knox on the ground, and she's basically horrified at seeing this, and also all the mayhem Dalton did by getting her off the boat by blowing the boat up and killing a couple other guys. She's horrified by that, and you see her keep that distance from it, and you could actually feel the distance of she's horrified by what he did, but she's not going to run into his arms. So
No,
I did like that. But
there's no romantic
oh
happy
yeah,
ever after at the end of which again I dug. I said I like that
oh yeah,
aspect. Like, because like in the 89 version it's like, oh, they're skinny dipping at the end, oh, I love you again,
yeah.
because she saw him naked again probably and she was like, you know what, I can forgive it. I can forgive you. I can forgive you. But yeah, but here he just gets on the bus and just goes off, and I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
It's like Shane, not I know your name Shane, but
No,
that
yeah,
movie
yeah. Like,
Shane,
well,
where he rides off and then he slumps down dead. Now, obviously, Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton's not
mhm.
slumping down dead, but he rides off into the sunset, like this is a western like style movie.
Oh yeah.
So I dug that part too. But yeah, I liked how Danielle McClure's character was like, yeah, I don't know how to handle
Yeah,
you.
no.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me time, because I have to
Hmm.
process this. Where Kelly Lynch's doc processed it, and like I said, once he probably took his clothes off again. She was probably like, "Yep, I'm good," and then just jumped back into his arms again. All right, now let's get into the real meat of the characters. So we got this guy. Yeah, prepare to die
Jimmy. Yep.
against this guy. So we got Jimmy Reno, Marshall Teague, who I'm not going to be biased because I interviewed Marshall Teague for my podcast. Which, if you haven't heard it, everybody, it's up on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, or just go to my website and Google it. It'll come up. The article will come up, and then the link to the interview will come up. I talked all about Roadhouse with Marshall Teague, which was great. And again, this is not swaying my opinion by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going Jimmy Reno all day. I mean, Jimmy Reno, Marshall Teague's Jimmy Reno. Holy cow! He's just like for like the first third of the movie, he's like he's a lion in wait. He doesn't even say anything. He's just in the background. But this guy's a badass. This guy doesn't need to say anything. He doesn't need to do anything. You just don't like. And then like when they come into the store, like when Patrick Swayze's in Red's store and they come in for the first time and they're just eyeing each other and he walks past them,
Mhm.
but still doesn't say anything, and it's just like Marshall Teague establishes Jimmy Reno without saying a word, and that is awesome characterization, for Jimmy Reno. Where Conor McGregor's Knox, oh, sorry, wrong picture. Conor McGregor's Knox is just like a fucking tornado of humor. It's just I don't know
Yeah.
what like I said, I'm still trying to process Knox because, like I said it in the review. He's not intimidating. He's not scary. He's like comic relief. I mean, he's dangerous. He's a badass MMA fighter. He's a badass. With that body and everything. But I mean, Marshall Teague as Jimmy Reno, of course, he was built. But he had a much more normal physique as opposed to Conor McGregor's. But I still think he's more intimidating than Conor McGregor is in the newer version. Your thoughts?
You know, I'm gonna have to go with Jimmy Reno because Jimmy Reno was the silent storm. He was that that posing force that, like, yeah, hell. It's like the scene where he beats the shit out of the entire Double Deuces
Oh,
uh bouncer staff takes on Wade Garrett,
That's when he
and
unleashes himself. That's when, because like he hasn't
yeah,
done anything up. Like I said, he's just been in the background, just like lying in wait, and then all of a sudden Brad Wesley gives him the okay, and he flips and then does
hmm
this
and
stick thing, and it's like it's
and
all
like you said, he said the line "prepare to die," and then the other famous line he says is "I used to fuck guys like you in prison," and you know, Conor McGregor, I think he did a good job with what he had, even though it's his first acting credit. I would love to see him as a more developed villain in another movie.
I would like to see him
Uh,
go against character because we all know Conor McGregor in real life
or,
is like
or
this. So why not try act? Well, I mean, I know it was his first movie, I get it, but as he seasons himself, I mean, maybe he doesn't want to do anymore. I don't know. Maybe he just did this for fun. Who knows?
yeah,
But
it could
like,
be.
I'd like to see him play out of his real life character and play somebody different.
True. But what was the one of the memorable lines he said was actually "be nice," which I'm like, they stole that from Swayze.
Blackwood Bodie agrees
Yes.
with us. Jimmy was the '80s over the top. He
Then
wasn't
we
even over
have
the top. He wasn't over the top. I mean, he was anything but over the top. I mean, Conor McGregor's over the top if you're going to say over the top.
very much so because we had and then there's two other lines that he happened to say was, "Oh, once Knox takes a job, baby." And I'm like, okay. And then I think the one good line he really did have was, "Hey, here's a piece of advice for you, or here's a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close, or never get this close to you and headbutts them."
Yeah, yeah.
That was impressive. I will give it
That
to
was a good.
them,
Yeah, that
but
was good. That was good. Yep.
I gotta give it to Jimmy from the original. So
Yeah, like I said, yeah, same thing.
yeah,
He's I dug his interpretation of a henchman way more. Like Conor McGregor, like I
oh
get
yeah,
it, in real life he's a bad driver, so they had to incorporate him
yeah. They
crashing
had
into
to
fucking
throw in
trees. And it's just like and then like when he goes into the bar, the bust shit up, he's like, he's doing this, he's like dancing,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
it's like a comic book come to life, when you look at Conor McGregor, and it's just, and if I was in the bar, granted I'd be further off, and I wouldn't do this to his face, but
exactly.
I'd be laughing, I'd be like. I'm like, who's this guy? I mean, oh, we have entertainment tonight. I was just sitting at my table drinking my beer, watching the show. But I mean, yeah. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, there might be people out
Yeah.
there who dug Conor McGregor's knocks, but then again, and we'll talk about the main fights because we'll compare the main fights too at the end
Oh yeah.
here. But in terms of that's the only thing that I thought Conor McGregor's knocks was good for was the setup at the bar when they first fight, and he kind of takes
hmm
Dalton out, which was pretty cool, was good too. And then the scene of course at the end. Now here's the thing that's definitely missing from the 2024 version. Yep.
Yep.
Words
I think.
Words don't even need to be spoken. Picture's worth 1,000
Yep.
words right here. Not even Sam Elliott, but somebody like that is memorable, and like, because we all know Sam Elliott's Wade Garrett doesn't even pop up until
hmm
like more than halfway through the movie, but it doesn't matter because he has the little conversation with him on the phone, but then he shows up
Yep.
and he's like Papa Bear to Patrick Swayze's Dalton, and they have such their characters just gel so well on the screen, and
hmm
their relationship is kind of what makes Roadhouse what it is. Your thoughts?
Exactly. Exactly. You get. I was kind of upset that they didn't have a Wade Garrett, but then I'm thinking, this is Dalton's first bouncer job. Then, um,
Give me the best.
and you have the great Sam Elliott because you can put him in anything. Shit, he did a great job in the show The Ranch on Netflix.
He's a ninja. Like they always say,
Yeah, he is
you put a
awesome.
ninja in something, it automatically makes it better.
Exactly. He did a great job. I was a bit bummed that they didn't have like a Wade Garrett character or like an older bouncer who was like, "Oh, the reason why they brought you here is I can't handle it myself,"
Right.
and he slowly teaches Dalton how to do the stuff. I thought that would have, if they would have done that, that probably would have made the movie a bit more, you know, personable.
Hmm.
But yeah, they didn't do that. I didn't like that they didn't have like a mentor character. They tried more like as Dalton at being the mentor to that one guy, Billy,
But that didn't
but
go anywhere.
it
I
wasn't
mean,
the
Billy
same.
was
It wasn't
he
the
was
same.
insignificant. I mean, yeah, they had
Exactly.
they had the good interaction, like when he's kind of instructed him before he goes in to deal with the guy with the
Hmm.
knife and everything, which is cool. And I always said that it was kind of it was cool because when he's doing, he's kind of doing the Patrick Swayze
Hmm.
thing, when and there's Billy in the front there. But yeah, other than that, that does, I mean, doesn't go anywhere. I mean, they just, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they become friends, I guess, and then there's the other bouncer. Like, there's only two bouncers in the whole place, which I guess is fine. But like in the original, we had this whole freaking, unit of
We
bouncers.
yeah. You had a half dozen guys,
Well, he got
and in
rid of
this
half of
one,
them at the beginning, but that's beside, like, he got
yeah,
rid of Terry Funk, and Gary Hudson, he kicked off when he was screwing the young aged girl.
yeah.
But other than that, like, he still had all the other guys. And here it's just I don't even remember the other guy. Like Billy and you had to tell me what his name was because I forgot
Yeah.
Billy's name. But yeah, I
So,
don't even remember what the other
and
guy's name is.
I will clarify one statement you said. It's like underage. When he says underage, he meant under 21
Yeah, under
because
21. Yep, he wasn't. Yeah, he was.
exact. It's like
Yeah,
now
yeah.
nowadays you say underage, people are gonna go whoa
I'm sorry, my
because
bad. Yeah,
she had a Sears credit
she
card
had
and
a
you had to
Sears credit
be 18
card
to get one
because
of
she was
those.
not old enough to drink, but I guess she was old enough,
Yeah.
to have somebody who was
The
probably her dad's age have sex with her, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like I will say that I don't want anybody misconstruing your statement because I'm like, ooh, I don't want somebody getting pissed and like messaging you or
Oh,
saying
they're not
anything
gonna get
like
no,
that.
it's like, if you don't know the movie, then
Oh, well,
that's not my
yeah,
fault.
true.
That's not my
But
fault.
yeah, it's like the Billy character, no comparison to Wade Garrett at all. Yeah,
I
it's like
mean I mean,
they didn't even try. They didn't even try.
like, you had
So
Jack, Travis McKenna as Jack. He was the big bear
yeah,
guy, and which he was a real bouncer. I saw the interview on the Vinegar
hmm,
Syndrome. Yeah, he was a definitely a real bouncer. Of course, you had Gary Hudson, you had Terry Funk as Morgan. You just had and then even Brant's crew, like, were all a bunch of prima donna pussies. Like, at least Brad Wesley, he had Jimmy Reno and he had Anthony
yeah,
DeLongis, who is a awesome martial artist, master of the whip as Ketchum. He was the one with the knife. Definitely
yeah.
intimidating, although he didn't put up as big
I
of
was
a
gonna
fight,
say
but still an
Blade from
intimidating
Masters of the
presence.
Universe.
Yes, yes, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So, and then, in terms of Brand's crew, like, you had the one guy that tried to punch Jake in the face, and that was like the sorriest looking punch in action cinema history.
I thought he
It
broke
was,
his hand when
I
he did
think it
that.
was, I think it was supposed to be construed as that because, like, he hit Jake, or he hit, I don't want to say Jake, he hit Dalton with it, and Dalton's like,
Yep, yep.
he seems
Pretty
more
much.
annoyed than anything. I'm like, did you just do
Yeah,
that? I'm like,
exactly.
if you're
I
gonna do it right. I mean,
I
it's just like,
I will say the out of all the bad guys, the guy that Jake breaks his arm gave me like Tinker vibes.
yes, yes,
Comparing.
yes,
So
yes,
yeah, it's
yes.
I will say they gave me Tinker vibes that because Tinker was kind of a like comedic type element, but he was
Polar
still
bear fell on me.
imposing in a way. And in this guy, did they even say his name? The one that got
Um,
his arm broken.
the guy that got his arm broken, I'm looking it up. Hang on. Yes, he was Mo. Arturo Castro was Mo. Yeah.
Mo.
He
Okay,
was so
I like Mo.
polite. He
Mo
was
was
like,
funny. Yeah, he
yeah, he
was
was, and
hilarious.
like when he takes him to the hospital, they're wheeling him off in in the wheelchair. And he's like, bye.
Oh no, or the scene where Mo has the bar stool and he's about to throw it and he goes, "Hey, how's it going?" And he breaks the
Yeah.
bar stool.
He's like, "Are those your bikes out there?" Yo, yeah, mine's the red one on the left.
Yeah,
And he's like, and they're all looking at him like, "Why'd you
yeah.
just say that?" Like, it was like, and
Or
then, yeah, and then he's like, "I
what
think
are
you broke my arm." And then,
or no, it's like, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm trying to put up a hammock here. You said be a or act like it's your own home." "Well, I didn't mean it that way."
yeah.
So
So yeah,
I liked the character. I like the character
Mo. Yeah,
Mo
he was
because
Mo. Yeah, like I said, I didn't remember, and Billy was played by Lucas Gage. who I'm sure has been
Okay.
in other things, but I have no fucking clue. Then we have Laura, played by BK Cannon. She was the bartender. She was the only real bartender. There were others behind the
Hmm.
bar, but she was like Kathleen Wilhoit's character in the
Yeah, exactly.
original,
That's what I
where
was thinking.
she kind of interacted with Dalton. And I told you in my review how she came to see him and she brought him food, and this Dalton actually ate it, instead of just drinking
Yeah,
coffee. But yeah, but
or it's like
again,
looking at the donut, like,
yeah,
ugh.
he like, or Danish or whatever it was, and he just throws it aside. But here, Jake Gyllenhaal's Don's like, yeah, grub, because he
Yeah.
doesn't have money, so he's like, if somebody's gonna give me
Oh
food,
yeah.
I'm gonna fucking eat it,
Well,
So,
even
but then
even though
again,
he did get paid that
their
first night.
relationship doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, they have
No.
interaction, but again, nothing really going on.
Yeah, because in the original, like we said on my show, we thought that the character Carrie Ann was a possible love interest originally when they show it off,
See,
and
I never got
the
see like even with Denise, yeah, even when I was watching it for the first time, like Kathleen Will, like she's pretty in her own right, but like I never got that
Mhm.
vibe from her, or even Denise was just eye candy, So
Yeah.
yeah, I never really got that vibe. But that, I mean, I can see how from your perspective too.
Yeah, yeah, it's like when I first thought I when I first remember watching it in my early 20s on TBS, I thought the character Carrie Ann was, like a love interest, but
Okay.
it never happened. It was like a little it ended up being like brother and sisterly type behavior, which, yeah, you got like, oh, they're friendly in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was it.
That was it.
And
Then, of course, you have Charlie, played by Hannah Love Lanier, who was the young girl at the bookstore that
mhm,
was owned by Steven. I have the IMDb up here because I just want to see who these people are. Kevin Carroll played Steven, her dad, and again, there's some interaction between him and Dawn. He
yeah,
kind of befriends them a little bit. He definitely befriends Charlie. And then
definitely.
yeah, but again, like we were talking about Billy Magnuson's brand, like he just wants the double deuce, Freudian slip.
Mhm,
He wants the roadhouse because he wants to build his mecca, but like Brad Wesley wanted the whole town just to own it. Which was more
yeah.
more vindictive than
Well,
just
if Billy Magnuson just wanted the double deuce in this movie, why does this guy want a burger place?
I don't
But,
know. But
yeah, I
J.C.
like the
Penney was
character.
coming there because of Brad Wesley, so
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like yeah. So, but yeah,
and
but again,
7-Eleven was there.
that relationship was kind of forged a little bit between him and Charlie. But then I made that comment like how the hero always has to have that teenage um
Yeah.
person to like mentor or protect. I just watched the movie again. I had seen it before, but I watched it again today because I want to do a review. It's called The Painter with Charlie Weber, which is one of those assassin type movies. And again, it's his daughter, but again, she's a teenager and everything. I'm like, oh, he's got to protect her and everything. It's like it's just it's old hat. It's like we've seen it way more times than I can count.
Yeah, I think it was a trope that they introduced in, like, the late '80s, early '90s with the stuff, like, off the top of my head, I could think of, Sasha Mitchell's character in Kickboxer 2, where he brings in the street kid, to basically kinda live at his karate dojo or his kickboxing dojo. Uh, that type of element, or the character Max Impact in Nemesis. It's like you
Yep.
kinda befriends the younger person to, like, I'm gonna mentor them in some way or partner up with them in some way, and in this one was, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a friend, but kinda be a protector," because we get the scene where Charlie goes out with a baseball bat against 3 guys, and they're all like, and they see Dalton, "Shit."
Yeah.
So,
And then they back up. It's like, yep, but we don't want to mess
yeah,
with
it's
you
like,
anymore.
and her father's character, he was barely in the movie. He was there to, so yeah, I think it was to establish basically that, oh, this kid isn't living on her own and running a bookstore herself. There is a parent
She
because
has a dad,
I did like
everybody.
the
She has a dad.
I did like the throwaway line they said in the movie was, "Oh, where's your dad at? Oh, he's working his other job because this one doesn't pay all the bills."
Right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it
That's why
was a
he's not here.
throwaway line, but yeah, it worked in my opinion.
It did. And now let's talk about another character that a lot of people don't talk about. And that's this one.
Yes.
We had talked about this briefly in our
Exactly.
review, how the Double Deuce. I don't have a picture of the Roadhouse, sorry, but we all know it's like that tiki shack, huge tiki shack looking thing in
Yep.
Glass Key. But yeah, we were talking about how the Double Deuce itself is its own character in the movie. It has its own life. It has, its own essence, if you will, as
It
opposed to the
it's
Roadhouse, which is just a place that Dalton is going to work at, and
mhm.
and here's the
Well,
other thing too. Like this is Roadhouse 1989. This picture sums it up perfectly. And I said
exactly.
Marshall Teague said it in the interview for Roadhouse. He's like, everybody came to film a movie and a fight broke out. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah. And so like here, like the double do, like it even has character at the beginning when it's a shit show and it's a hellhole, and it's like, and they try to make
Exactly.
the Roadhouse look the same, but it still looks nice. It still looks like, oh, this ain't bad.
Uh,
It's in the
no,
Florida Keys. Like the Double Deuce was in Jasper, which obviously isn't as, tropical as it is in the Glass Key, Florida. But like, you come in, it's like this is a nice looking place. It just gets trashed at night because, assholes show up and stuff like that. But here,
yeah,
like the Double Deuce actually transforms from a piece of shit to like, what we see in
exactly. Like it
in this one.
has its own character development itself. Like what
Yep.
we said, in the original, the Double Deuce is a character. It goes from being a shit show to being what you just showed on screen, and great place to go to. And the Roadhouse, which I know it's like an ironic name that Frankie's uncle named it, but I'm like, that's still kind of dumb in my opinion. Just call it the Roadhouse. And even Dalton's like, the hell are you smoking type thing on
Hmm.
his face. And it doesn't really change at all. Like, you don't see it because she hires him to help make the place better, to improve it because she wants to keep it. And kind of, I kind of got the vibes that she wanted to do more with the place, but it just stayed the same. It was a prop. It wasn't a
Gotcha.
character, which,
Like there
yeah,
it is
it's
in the
like,
back. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, what I see in that picture is I see Jake Gyllenhaal there looking awesome with that dragon eye tattoo on his arm. I'm like, if I could get away with that, I would get that tattoo on my arm.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
But yeah,
but
like we're saying, like the Roadhouse, it's not a bad looking place. It's it's
no,
it's
it's not a bad
it,
looking place. It doesn't
it's the
even
kind of
start
place you
off
would expect
looking
to
like
see in Glass Key, Florida, in the Florida Keys. It's
exactly.
it's like
Yeah, it doesn't start off as a shit show. The only thing that could clarify it as a shit show would be the chicken wire you have around the band, which it stays up the entire goddamn movie. The
it
chicken
does.
wire and
Yeah, yeah. Nothing
in
really
the original,
transforms with it. Yeah,
yeah,
it just yeah,
the only transformation we got was when Knox took the golf club to it and ripped a hole through it, and that was it.
pretty much.
And in the double deuce, you got the chicken wire, and eventually they get rid of it because it's a decent place and a safe place for the band.
Right,
And, you got a line, you see it in the picture. You have a line practically going all the way around the building.
right.
And in this one, people just walk in.
Yeah,
And, when the bikers show up in the beginning of the movie, I think is the only time where it feels like it's kind of a shithole only because the characters walk in, or when Knox comes in and starts banging shit around, and it turns into a legitimate shithole after the huge ass fight everybody has. But other than that, I'm like, the Roadhouse as a character is non-existent. It's just a prop. The Double Deuce is memorable, in my opinion. So it's gotta go. It goes to the Double Deuce. No, no, hands down for me.
yeah. So in terms of characterization, definitely the original over 2024 by far.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the big elephant in the room, at least in my eyes. It's the action. So like I
Hmm.
told you, like this picture sums up 1989's Roadhouse. Like this is exactly what happens like every 5 minutes in the movie. And I
Hmm.
said in my review, I said I didn't have to have a fight breakout every 5 minutes like in the original one. I do not need wall to wall action. I don't. I mean, I just need substantial decent action. And here we have So we have the intro where we see Post Malone. I got he's a singer, right? I mean, he was on Howard
Yeah,
Stern,
Post
and
Malone, he's a rapper.
I have no idea who
I
he is.
actually
I'm sorry. I know I'm out of it
uh
with it, but yeah, I have no freaking clue who Post Malone is. And I don't
oh,
even know why they made a character poster for like when they came out with the character posters for this Roadhouse, he was one of them. He's in the movie for 2 minutes and
uh
then he runs away like a bitch because he
pair
doesn't want to fight Dalton.
apparently when I saw an interview, Jake Gyllenhaal read the script up for the movie. That he read that, and when he heard Post Malone was just gonna do like a cameo, essentially, he thought it was cool as hell, and that's was the part of the reason why he wanted to do the movie. The other part was Doug Liman's a friend of his, and they've been trying to do stuff for years. Apparently,
Oh, look at you doing your
I
research.
I
Good for you.
oh yeah, well no, I didn't just do the research because like I told you and Charlie, I found the soundtrack of the original for cheap. I've listened to the hell out of that thing, and uh, they have a playlist on Amazon Music, just a playlist. They don't actually have an album. And the first song they have is a song called Texas Tea by Post Malone. And his style of music, I'm not a hip hop guy. I'm rock, country, some pop, but I'm not really too big into rap myself. Uh, I did out of the music for me, it's gotta be the remake, or the redo or whatever remix or whatever you wanna call it of, Enter Sandman, 'cause I've gone through, like, 4 songs out of this soundtrack, and the soundtrack is, like, an hour and 40 minutes on the playlist because they get every song that's played throughout the movie, when the original one is under an hour. The songs are more memorable on that, and the action for me was more memorable in
Hang
the
on before
original.
we go into the action.
Alright.
This just let's talk about the music, and here's where the new one suffers even more. Like in the original, we
Yeah.
again people now today's generation unfortunately doesn't know who the Jeff Healey band was, and Jeff Healey, who was a
Yeah.
blind musician who was freaking awesome, played a guitar like
Oh,
nobody's
yeah.
business being blind. The music in the original Roadhouse was Jeff Healey and his band just kicking ass through the whole movie. And in 2024, you got a series of bands. Like I made a joke in the review that we did. I'm like, you got the church band. He's like, are you ready to go to church? I'm like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, the guy that throws the beer
That was
bottle, like
so
the guy
odd.
that comes up and like, what's the kick of? I'm like, I wanted to kick him off the stage. And then you got all these different bands. And I tell you what, nothing memorable. Like I could watch this like 1,500 times and I still won't remember the songs that
The
all these
only
people are playing.
thing that was memorable for me was the Enter the Sandman at the beginning of, the fight at the end of the movie with Conor McGregor and, Jake Gyllenhaal, the dun, 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 on
Yeah.
just I'm not a Metallica fan. I don't like hard, heavy metal
Yeah, it
music,
was
but
interesting that they
the
chose to Enter the Sandman. I was like, all right, that's kind of
wi
cool. But
that it
it's
got me.
established. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's established song, but, that's the one that I remembered out of the entire movie was hearing the guitar riff basically in the beginning of the song, and hearing a female singer singing it. I'm like, "Alright," and I was happy to actually see that it's on the music playlist for this soundtrack, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that song, but the rest of it's forgettable. Jeff Healey did a great job.
all the way, all the way.
You can barely hear it in the movie, but Patrick Swayze singing his songs were great too. Like for half an hour, I did on repeat, uh, "Raise a Little Heaven in Hell" that he
Hmm.
sang,
Hmm.
which they barely played in the background of, like, the Double Deuce when, everybody's there getting together, and I can't see Jake Gyllenhaal sing. I
Jake
I
Gyllenhaal
I
sings. He
highly
sings. He was on Howard Stern. He's
Oh,
a
really?
singer. He is. I
S
haven't heard him sing, but because Howard Stern asked Jake if he plays an instrument, and Jake was like, "I play a little guitar." He's like, "But I sing," because his family is known too. Yeah, he's a singer, so I'd actually like to hear him sing
Oh, yeah.
because
Okay,
it
yeah, I'd
sounded like
like
he
to hear
just
that.
wasn't a recreational singer. Like he actually has the pipes to to sing. Yeah, he was on Howard Stern. And he mentioned that, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah,
So yeah, that makes me wonder. It's like it makes me wonder. Even if I doubt like I'm on Amazon right now. I'm like Jake Gyllenhaal.
I don't know. Well,
Now,
Howard
Bacall,
asked him if he sang anything in one of his movies, and Jake couldn't remember. He's like, I don't think so. And he said if I did, it was probably bad. But yeah, I haven't heard like the stylings of Jake Gyllenhaal like at all. I mean, you could go find it. Like but it's like other than
there's
that,
like
he
three
said,
songs on Amazon. So
"Oh, there you go.
so three
We'll check them out
so
and
yeah.
see how Mr. Jake
We
sounds and
got
maybe
we
go
got
get."
to, but yeah, it's like I said, the music's just listening to it. Like the church song is like the third or fourth song on the playlist, and I'm like, I didn't care for it in the movie. I even skipped it. And when there's so many different songs in the original that I absolutely loved, and
And
it's Jeff Healey.
how can you for no? I mean, again, I'm a guy. Plus back then I was a younger guy. But how? Oh my God! What's the name of the song that he plays when Denise does her striptease? One of the best scenes ever. I mean, when she gets up on that stage, it's
Oh,
just like I mean,
yeah,
refresh my memory. What dun, 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 dun,
oh yeah,
dun,
no, I know
dun,
exactly
dun,
what the
dun, dun,
song is.
dun. Gypsy woman, and then he starts singing. Oh my God, that was like one of the
Oh
best
yeah,
things
yeah,
ever.
no, it was a great song.
Yeah,
It was the name is escaping me, but it is
yeah, I never memorized
Rad
the name.
Gumbo.
Okay.
It's Rad Gumbo is the name of the song.
Oh, and like I
And
said,
but yeah,
and not the fact
just
that she
having
gets
that.
naked, which is nice to look at, but it's
It's all the music. It's
yeah,
all the music. Like
yeah.
the song that him and Carrie Ann sing together. It's like when the night comes falling.
Yeah,
Like I played that. If you guys go back to my episode, like there was my intro sing, and I spliced in that song uh at the end of that intro to introduce the episode. Because
mhm,
I was partially tempted to throw in Patrick Swayze singing, but I'm like, no, even though he does a great job singing, it's not as iconic as Jeff Healey. So
right,
I felt like I had to show Jeff Healey a lot of love there. R.I.P. He did such a great job in not just as a singer, but playing the blind guitar player Cody in the movie.
right.
So,
Yeah, again, no contest, in
oh
terms of
yeah,
the music. I mean, you gotta give it up to the 1989 Roadhouse, and even, like, today's generation would dig it, It's like because
oh
it's
yeah,
that it transcends decades, It's like, it's that good. It's like, I would play it for probably my daughter Sam, and she would probably, like, be like,
I
this
played
is
it
some
for
good
my
stuff."
kids are part of it, and they were dancing.
There you go. Can't beat it. We got a comment here. My favorite night, yeah, when night comes falling.
Yeah,
Yep,
night come falling. Yep.
yep, yep. All right, so now let's go into the action. So yeah, so because you started talking about the music, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We got to talk about the music too
Yeah.
because they're two integral parts. Well, one's more integral than the other. But now we
Mhm.
have this, and then we
uh,
have this. All right, so let's not talk about the finales yet. The big climactic showdowns between the Daltons and their significant, badass adversaries. Like, okay, let's talk about the again. We got the original 1989 Roadhouse. So again, it doesn't open up with a fight. I gotta admit,
no, no.
I kind of gave 2024 some shit, for not because you think Jake's gonna fight, but then Post Malone, gets all pissed off because he's like, I'm
Yeah.
not fighting him because he knows he's a UFC fight, even if he's disgraced and he hasn't done it, he's still chicken shit of him,
Oh
and
yeah,
he takes
exactly.
off, and Jake still gets his money. But in the I just shocked. That was my fault. I then I watched the original today again, just for shits and giggles because you can never watch it enough. And and in
Oh
the
yeah, I can't.
original, he gets the guys to go outside, and then he just walks back in as the other
Mhm.
bouncers form a line. So yeah, so in that respect, yeah, you don't get a fight at the beginning of the original Roadhouse either. But that's the only similarities between this one and the 2024 one, because other than that, 1989 just opens up a whoop ass can of whoop ass of fights all over the place. And like I said, Marshall
Uh,
Teague's infamous and
yeah, it's like,
Marshall Teague's great statement. I mean,
mhm.
he's like, we all came to film a movie and a fight broke out. And that's what happened. Like
Exactly.
there's like
Or
fights
we
all
all
over the
came,
place.
yeah,
And in
fights all over the place.
2024, you get the ending. Because like even we didn't really talk about JD Pardo and his Dell, which is another villain in the movie, which we all were saying how he was a missed opportunity. I thought it was a missed
Oh
opportunity.
yeah, definitely. He was a huge missed opportunity.
Because like he gets
And
pissed at
you know,
Dalton because like he beat him up and everything, and he lost his stature with his guys and stuff like that. So he's on the boat, he's gonna kill him, and you think they're gonna fight there, but then they just kind of tussle a little bit, and he gets thrown out the window, and of course the croc shows up and fucking eats him. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, so there's no fight either. There's no fighting there either, anybody. And then the scene with
and
Billy when
don't
he's instructing him, and any cops, and it's kind of like Dalton, Patrick Swayze's Dalton slam the guy into the thing. He takes his hand and takes the knife out. I'm like,
just
oh, there was a
snaps
little
his
bit of a
wrist
fight
right
there.
there. And
But
the
yeah,
slap fight was uh
yes,
the slap
that's
fight was probably the most well-known fight because,
that was the
it's in
only
the
fight
preview.
in the first 2/3 of the movie.
Exactly. And you know,
Like
the action is more fast-paced in the original,
the
because it's
pacing is
constant.
definitely
It's
better.
showing
Yep.
it's showing you that, it was a shithole and it's getting better. And like I said, the Roadhouse, you had one fight, which is was the good rule from the original movie, was take it outside. Hence, that's like one of the taglines I believe for this new one is take it outside. And he yeah, it's the rest of it. The movie, I think the only other time we get any semblance of action was when JD Pardo tries to run him over in his truck and then tries to kill
That's
him,
not an
but the
action
gator gets
sequence. That's him just trying to hit him with the
it's
truck,
not really
and
an
he falls
action.
over
I
the
was gonna
bridge.
say there yeah, that's not really an action scene, but it's the only thing that could possibly you could think that your heart rate might go up because, the original Roadhouse, you're watching those fights and your blood's pumping. You're like, "Oh, yeah," and this one, kind of a little bit of snooze with the action, it's yeah, it's like you got like I said during the review, it was kinda going up and then just plateaus right when he gets to the Roadhouse after he slaps the shit out of everybody,
Right.
and I'm like, alright," and, yeah, it didn't fee I kinda hate that the majority of the fights were shown in the preview for this one, or in the
Mhm.
trailer as for this one, when in the original, you watch the trailer, you showed a part of the trailer there, they didn't show a whole lot of the fights. It was
Mhm.
kinda like, "Oh, we're gonna hold back on this stuff," and in this one, they wanted to give you everything up front so you could be like, "Okay, this is cool." Because I would have liked to have seen, you know, Gyllenhaal beat the hell out of Post Malone's character. I was actually, hoping for that because, oh, you see this character, Carter Ford, plays by Austin Post is what his real name is, uh and they show him doing the fights, and I would have loved to have seen Dalton just go up against Carter Ford and whooped his ass. And even the ref for the thing goes, "Dalton?" Because he was even surprised. And yeah, this is like we said, this is like the most one of the most memorable fights, but it's sadly in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, and yeah,
I
you
mean,
get
yeah,
everybody in the bar.
I like how everybody comes out, like I love their
Mhm,
reactions too. I mean, this is a great scene. I'm not gonna lie, and I like how Dalton handles like like how he's asking him, "Do you have insurance?" And "Hey, is there a hospital?" And then Frankie's like, "I don't give a
mhm.
shit," and stuff like that. And then he's looking all confused, like, "Hey, you should be afraid of me, motherfucker." And he's like, I'm not
Mhm.
afraid of you. Then there's Mo.
But yeah, it's like and Mo, it's like
And
I
I was
love
like, I think there's
the
one like
character
20,
Mo,
25 miles down the road or something like that. And then,
depending on the traffic.
and then when he first hits him, he's like, "Oh, I just slapped you." I'm like, that's a great like or yeah, like when
Mhm.
because he's like so shocked like when he does it.
They're
It's
all
like,
so shocked.
yeah. I mean, I love the exchange. Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then, yeah, and he's like slapping everybody. And then I like how he fakes the slap, right? Yeah, and he slaps him with the other hand.
Yeah, right there.
It's like-
Just slaps. And
and
he doesn't it's like it takes a little while
and
before he actually closes his
everybody's
fist
like,
and hits
"Whoa!" And
somebody.
they're yeah, it's like Yeah.
I like that. It's like, what's a draw?
Yeah, what's a draw? He's like, that means it's a tie, Dale. Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then, we get Dell getting his head smashed into the damn ground right here. This I thought was brutal. I was like, that's pretty cool.
mm,
But I'm like, and everybody there, and he just goes, "Can I borrow a car?
yeah,
Not for
yeah.
these shitheads." But yeah, it's that. Yeah, like you said, that's in the first, like the end of the first act, beginning of the second act of the movie, and then the rest of it, it's just
Yeah, it just coasts. It's just like it's like
yeah.
Florida. It's just it's like
Well, you have more experience with that than I do because
I've only been here
I've
for
never been to Florida.
about 6 months, but well, yeah, I have visited here on vacation too. I mean, it can be. I mean, but it's also when it's tourist season. I mean, which is coming up soon. I'm not really looking forward to that. But so okay, so yeah, so in terms of the original Roadhouse, we get skirmishes throughout,
Yeah,
like a buttload of skirmishes throughout. And of course we got the finales, and I kind of teased them. Of course, we got the iconic Jimmy Reno versus Dalton showdown, which I got to talk to Marshall Teague about. It's up now if you want to listen to it. Such a great interview, and he gave me such great behind the scenes stuff with him and Patrick Swayze. And then, I mean, you got this one, now this one's a little bit, I mean, okay, I like them both. I mean, in terms of,
yeah,
and then as we talk, I'm going to show the original fight here. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. So give me 2 seconds. There we go. Yeah. So again, here's icon. This is iconic with him leaping off, and
yeah.
it just starts off epic. Okay.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely. And the it
prepare
I
to
just
die. And then I
I
love how he's like, prepare to die. You are such an
mm,
asshole. I'm like, I love that comeback. And then it's like, this
exactly.
is, I mean, it's straight on pretty much karate. I mean, like they're doing full blown, rigid hard style
They're
karate.
actually hitting each other
Yes.
because at the
Yes.
time, Marshall Teague and Patrick Swayze didn't like each other.
They became
Didn't
friends over
really.
this fight. Yep. Yep. They did.
Yeah, they ended up getting respect for each other over this fight, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Marshall cracked Patrick
exactly. I was
Swayze's
about to
ribs in the
say
face.
that. It's like
Yep.
that when it happened. It's like he grabs the log and he smashes it into a. He thought it was a breakaway log, but it was a real one. So he cracked a couple ribs, and you could see in this fight that they're going at it. That
Oh
they're
yeah,
just
definitely. Oh yeah,
full
this is
on
full
going
blown.
at
Like
it, and
this is like it's not full contact, but it's definitely contact,
oh
and
yeah,
they're giving it their all,
exactly.
and it's just back and forth. It's like mano a mano, back and
Hmm.
forth. Like they're both so
It's
evenly
almost
matched, and
exactly. It's almost a hit for hit.
it's so
So in
good.
a
It's
way.
just it's so brutal, and it's just like I said, the choreography is excellent. I mean, it's a product
And
of the
yeah, and
times.
here's the line. It's like
I
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
then
Yeah,
you're like, was he just saying that to be badass, or did that really happen? I'm like, we'll never know. But
exactly. That's
it's
yeah.
like it's like, and then here he is.
One.
Oh, he's losing, and then
Mhm.
he's damn boy. I thought you were good. I love that part too. And then of course, he comes at him, and then it all changes in there. He's like, "Whoa," and I love
Exactly.
how he exhales before he kicks. And that's a great thing too.
Mhm.
And now, yeah, and then of course you kick him in the groin. That's definitely going to take him out of the game. And
Oh yeah.
now it's the big finale. He's got him on the ropes. It's a rope a dope. And then of course he's
The
not going to win. He's going to pull the gun after he kicks him.
no
He's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"I'll kill you the whole fashioned
And
way."
and
And then
here's
did
Doc.
she not
Here's
see him
Elizabeth.
pull the
There's
gun?
Doc.
Did she not see him pull
Yeah.
the gun?
She had to have heard it because when he gets it up in the yeah, right there, the gun goes off.
And then the
She had to
iconic, and they don't. I mean,
throat
they don't
ripping
really
out scene.
show it that. I mean, it's not really that
Yeah.
graphic if you're going to think about it.
The only thing I have to really say a negative in that fight was, right there when he kicks him into the water, he kind of
Yeah.
like he's out of steam, out of energy. He's just out of everything, and he just that kick was compared to the other kicks he had, I felt that one was slightly sloppy compared to everything else, but still, it's
Wow, you're
not
nitpicking,
bad at
Shane.
all.
Jesus Christ, that's a wow.
I was being a little, okay, that and I will say this fight for me was a bit better than in the remake because in the remake, it shows the or in this one, in the original, it shows the brutality that Dalton can go to and
Yes.
that he's been holding back, and he kills a guy in self-defense yet again. And like you said, he shows when he gets angry in the remake, he just starts killing people almost left and right.
Yeah,
And
he
in this
does.
one, he tries not to kill people.
Yep. Yeah, so
And
again, such that fight is considered, I mean, not just by me, I mean, which I do too, but many
oh yeah,
consider that one of the best modern Western, there's the West and the East, there's Asia and then there's the
hmm
West over here. One of the best Western I don't want to say martial art, but one of the best Western fight scenes ever in action cinema history is that fight between him and Marshall Teague
hands
in that
down,
movie. So that's
it's
such a good
hands
scene.
down one of the best.
It's not, it's flashy, but not. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some
Exactly.
like you got the iconic him leaping in the air with the knee, which was awesome. And then you got the kicks and stuff like that, and but
It's
it's realistic, it's brutal, it's down, it's gritty, it's
it's dirt.
dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh, so
It's
good.
dark, dirty, gritty, not just because of the lighting of the movie, but, you actually see, like, the dirt on these characters, you see the blood on them, and, you don't really see that a whole lot in the remake. It's still
No.
kinda you know, you got Conor McGregor doing, like, the comedic elements, smashing Dalton's head into the piano, and he's like, "I think this is out of tune." "It
Yeah.
sounds good to me."
Yeah.
And, you know, they show like I said, spoilers. You think Conor McGregor's dead, but, they do the credit scene where he beats the shit out of everybody in the
Right.
hospital and he walks out. But
Right.
the only time it actually gets dirty or gritty or violent is when they grab the broken chair legs and start stabbing each other
Well,
with it.
yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves though, because we got to talk about
Sorry, yeah,
that's
sorry.
fine. Yeah, so now we got their fight. Now I actually don't
Yeah,
have the fight, but like they show it a little bit in the
in the trailer. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I'll play it, and you'll see some of it. Obviously this Roadhouse is the MMA themed Roadhouse, and there's the fight between him and Conor McGregor is definitely MMA infused. It's got the
Oh, yeah.
MMA tinge to it, which I dug. I liked it. I mean, and I always said before I saw the movie, like that was going to be one of the big points for me was like how good the epic finale was, the confrontation.
Yeah.
And actually, the confrontation between him and Conor McGregor is the finale where but I like in the original Roadhouse how his confrontation with Jimmy Reno isn't the finale, because after we all know that after he kills Jimmy Reno,
Yeah,
then
there's
he
like
goes after Brad Wesley and he assaults the compound and has his little fight with Ketchum and kills all those guys. Or does he? Well we all really know that Ketchum is the one that dies, and Pat, because
mhm.
he falls off with the knife and stuff like that. But you probably just knocked the other guys out. But yeah, that's the
Yeah,
finale. We're
exactly.
here in Roadhouse 2024. That is the finale, the fight scene between
Yeah,
them.
exactly. You know, I think we said on my episode, the Jimmy Reno fight could have been the finale, but there's another like 20 minutes after
Which
that
is
fight.
which is
And in
why it's
this
so good. I mean, that could have been the
yeah,
finale, but they're like, "Hey, everybody, here's some more."
exactly.
Yes. So, like,
And
when it shows up here, like, I mean, I obviously, it's not all over the trailer. They show their little bits and
mhm,
pieces in and everything, but obviously, it's the MMA infused style, which, we all
yeah.
know that Conor McGregor, had to learn how to movie fight as opposed to do his real fighting. Jake Gyllenhaal is not an MMA fighter, so I mean, he obviously learned what he learned,
Mhm.
for the movie and stuff like that. But he put
And
his work
it's like
in.
and even yeah, he did. He put the work in, and Conor McGregor put I'm gonna give Conor McGregor credit because he put in the work for, he helped coach the fights. He helped uh because apparently here's something absolutely funny that I found out. I watched Jake Gyllenhaal's interview with uh
So here's a little bit of the fight
oh
coming up
god.
here. Yeah. So hang on just two
Yeah, it's
seconds
like
before you make
they
the point.
yeah.
So I like that. That was awesome, you know. And then of course they don't show a lot of it, which is unfortunate.
Hmm.
And there's him wheeling off in the wheelchair. He's like, "Bye." I love that part.
But
Okay,
yeah,
go
it's like
on.
I saw an
Yep.
interview on the Tonight Show, and Jake was talking about how Connor, not going full force at all, punched him in the face, and he was like, "Oh God," and Jake was like, "Oh God,"
Yeah.
like leading up to this, and they were like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," and there's the scene where they're fighting with the pickup truck doors, and Connor actually got smacked in the face with the pickup truck door.
Oh, okay.
Jake accidentally hit him in the face with it, and
Oops.
apparently when they said cut, Connor was laughing about it.
Of course he was, because he's Conor McGregor. He don't give a shit. He's like, "That
And
didn't hurt." That didn't
yeah,
hurt.
it's like it didn't hurt. I think, the fight, this fight was, it seemed more brutal, but it wasn't as brutal as the original because in the original, like I said, they're bleeding. And, not too much in this one. The only time they truly bleed is when because they're in the roadhouse, shit's demolished, tables are broken in pieces, and they get chair legs and start stabbing each other with it.
Yeah.
And spoilers, like we keep saying, it's Conor McGregor who kills Billy Magnuson's character. He
Yeah.
just snaps his neck.
Yeah. That.
And
Yeah.
in
Yep.
in the original, Brad
Patrick
Wesley
Swayze had
doesn't
his
get
big
killed by
showdown with
Dalton.
Brad Wesley. Yep.
Yeah, he had the big showdown with Wesley, almost kills him, but decides not to, and it's all the town business leaders who
That blow him away.
literally gun him down with shotguns that came out of
Best
his gun room.
Best
So,
best blood squibs ever, let me tell you, and he's even wearing white, so you
mhm,
can see all the red. Oh my god, that's such a great
yep.
what a great villain death. Oh my god, such a good scene. So, the only thing and then let's talk about the other elephant in the room, the CGI that's been accused of, Roadhouse 2024. Scott Adkins went on Twitter. I posted an article today. If you haven't seen it, guys,
Mhm.
check it out on actionflix.com. Uh yeah, he even called him out. You know, he praised the movie. He praised Doug Liman. He praised Jake
Yep.
Gyllenhaal. He praised Conor McGregor's intro into movies. But then he was like, "Come on!" He's like Patrick Swayze's Dalton didn't need it, and it's so true. Like back in the '80s and '90s, nobody did CGI. You know, and
Yep.
it's like here, like definitely during Post Malone's fight. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I just cringed. Like I watched it the
Uh,
second time yesterday, and or was it? Yeah, yes,
that
Friday.
Friday,
I'm sorry.
Friday.
I watched it Thursday and then
Yep.
Friday. Sorry, I just got off my pain meds a little while ago. But yeah, horrible. Oh my god, it's so obvious. Go back and watch it, and you'll be able to figure it out. And
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna
the
have to do
headbutt,
that to see.
and then well, they're saying it's for impact. They're like they did it for, and
Mhm.
actually. Scott Atkins interviewed Johnny Train Nguyen, who's a Vietnamese action star. He did the Rebel,
Yeah.
and he had mentioned because Scott Atkins posted another tweet about because he interviewed him for his Art of Action series, and Johnny did use a little bit of CGI for impact elements in his movie, but Scott was blown away. He's like, I didn't notice it. So like if you're gonna do CGI, make sure you do it to the point where it's like we can't tell it's CGI. Do a good enough job where we're not gonna be like, this is bullshit. It's like, but unfortunately, everybody and
Y
their mother is picking it out of Roadhouse 2024, and it just
I
it's gonna become such a shit show because and it's unfortunate because I
uh,
mean the fights aren't bad and I tell you what, like
mhm.
between both fights, I like them both for different reasons. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, I
Yeah, there
probably
it's
sway to the original a little bit more because it's so iconic and
yeah.
I've seen it so much. But I thought that their finale was pretty epic, and I love how he dispatched Knox with the trigger legs and stuff like that. Now, of course, we know he's not dead, which is stupid, you know.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
like and the choreography with the hands. I love a good knife fight. And actually, I just watched The Painter. If you want to see good knife fights, The Painter has, but it's like I can only move one arm, but he's like the way he was sticking, like and moving his
Mhm.
hand. Awesome choreography. I loved how he did that, and such a good scene. So yeah, so I give him props for that too.
Another decent movie or a movie that has a decent knife fight, which is odd. It's a horror film called Deliver Us from Evil, where Joel McHale plays a New York cop who is on he's like the special task force team. The and he actually pulls out a knife, and I did the research on that one. Apparently, Joel McHale learned how to fight with a knife and did the stunts with the knife and everything, which made it even better. I'm gonna say something that people will be like, "Oh god, Shane, you're an idiot." But in my defense, I watched it at
Say it.
3 AM on Tuesday or on Thursday. I didn't notice the CGI, but then again, like I said, I started watching it at 3 AM before I was leaving for a work orientation later that morning. So I was watching the movie between 3 and 5 AM, and I didn't notice it myself, probably because I wasn't looking for it or paying attention for it. But,
That's fine.
seeing
You're
some of the,
forgiven, Shane.
behind
It's okay. But go
okay,
back and watch
okay.
it. Now that you know you're looking for it, you'll see it.
I'm
You'll
thinking
definitely see
I
it.
was thinking of I was part if it wasn't for my daughter's birthday today, I was probably gonna watch it again before recording, but I'm like, I can watch it later. It it's like, the last fight in the original is iconic. This one, it wasn't bad at all. I enjoyed it. It did kinda get the blood pumping for me because me personally, if a fight, especially in any action movie, if it kinda gets your blood flowing and your heart pumping, it's a good one. But, when it's kinda lazy and like there have been in some movies, you're like, "Ugh."
I
And,
will say this. I will say this in terms of um presentation, editing, and that the original one handles it so much better in terms of the camera
yeah.
swaying back and you actually seeing the actors. Where, of course, the 2024 Roadhouse succumbs to the fast edits, the close ups, and
Mhm.
it's hyperkinetic and it's like because they think the audience has because like they think like if they did it like the original Roadhouse, people wouldn't be like, oh, this is exciting. But if you watch the original one, that's what makes it exciting. You're seeing the actors do what they're doing. Like there are edits and there are close-ups to a point like when
Mhm.
they say their lines and stuff like that, but for the most part when they're hitting each other the camera's back and you're seeing what they're doing on screen. Not saying
Yeah.
you could like this fight scene didn't succumb to like the I call it the Bourne syndrome, like because we all know the later on
The
Bourne movies
shaky
were
cam. Yep.
horrific with the shaky. Oh my god, it was got to the point where you
Yep.
were throwing up. But
Yep.
yeah, it's like and you couldn't tell like the last Bourne movie, you could not fucking tell what was going on in those fights. I'm sorry, but I went to see that in
Or,
the movie theater. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. Like the one in the tunnel. Oh my god, worst fight scene ever. But that's besides the point. But yeah, but at least this one, like even with the hyperkinetic realism to it and the edits and stuff, you still got to see what they were doing, and you still got to see the movements and stuff like that. So it wasn't too bad. But I like the style of the way the original was shot. So I did.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's people think if you would have shot like the original, you were either copying the original, which come on, it's reimagining it. You're doing MMA when they're doing kickboxing, and completely different styles, two different pacing, two
Mhm.
different like this one. It felt brutal. Like you can see on Marshall Teague's right eye there, like a welt coming up and blood right there. And then the other
And you
one,
got
it
and
did
you gotta
in
love the
the
denim. You gotta love the denim. What I mean?
exactly, you gotta give them
Like,
you
the
gotta
no
love
shirt
the,
with the denim
Canadian
jacket.
tuxedo.
Yeah, right?
Yep,
So
and this, I I just gotta say, fuck you, Jake Gyllenhaal. I wish I had 12-pack abs. I
well,
love you
he's
as
not
an
gonna keep
actor.
those. I mean, he's still in shape, I'm
Oh, no,
sure,
no.
but,
Oh, yeah,
that's a
no, in
that's like a rumor.
interviews, he keeps saying that, he does keep in shape because it's just for him and his movies, but like Southpaw, he went all out. This one, he went all out. Jake Gyllenhaal, typically, if I hear he's doing a movie, I'm gonna try to go see it. I watched The Covenant Friday night and finished it yesterday morning.
Oh,
He
did
did a
you?
great job. Yeah,
Freaking awesome.
great
That's
job in my
that
opinion.
ending, oh my
Oh, yeah.
god, such good
Oh,
action.
yeah.
Oh my god, so exciting. I
Oh,
love
yeah,
it.
and, he is one of my favorite actors. I do like Jake Gyllenhaal. Some of his movies, I think, is just looks weird. Like,
Yeah,
I
he's done
never
some
saw
arty movies.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
never saw Nightcrawler because I thought it looked weird. I've seen a good chunk of, Zodiac, which he did a great job in that. He
Mhm.
did a great job in this with what he was given. I feel like the Dalton character was really the only one that was flushed out fully in a way,
True,
and,
true.
yeah. And I love that dragon eye tattoo right there. That if I could pull
Everybody,
that off, I
Shane
would
loves the
definitely.
Dragon Eye tattoo. If anything else about Roadhouse 2024, he loves the Dragon Eye tattoo. It's
I
a fucking
I
kick-ass
did
tattoo, let
enjoy.
me tell you. I can't.
Oh yeah, it's because don't. And if people watching this don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this movie. I actually rated it higher than John did in our review.
They did.
And so it there, but when you compare it to the original, for me, I'm sorry, there's no comparison. Like I've
All
been
right. Well, don't get ahead of
purposely
yourself. Don't
sitting
get
at
ahead
a
of yourself. We're gonna do that
so
at the end. That's the big finale. That's the big finale.
okay.
It's okay.
I apologize.
It's okay. It's
Getting a little, it's like getting a little heated.
Yeah,
So
you know, he gets so excited. It's like it's like I get it. You're getting emotional about it. All
yep.
right. So overall enjoyment. So that's what we're going to talk about next. That's the last thing we're going to talk about next. So like in terms of like when I say overall enjoyment, so like when you watch the original Roadhouse, I suppose now obviously like I said at the beginning, or did I say this off camera? I can't remember. Did we talk about this where I said like the original Roadhouse has been around for so many more like this Roadhouse has only been
Yeah.
around for
It
3
was
days.
beginning.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's at a disadvantage. Like it's only been here since Friday, where the
Exactly.
original Roadhouse
I
has
will.
been around since 1989. I get it. I get it. But still overall, like I watched the new one twice. And I got to go overall enjoyment, obviously, with the original. Like I said, for all the things that I talked about and all the things that I said, for Patrick Swayze's cool ass Dalton, to the more memorable characters, to the pacing, to the plentiful action and fight sequences, to the rousing finale, which you think Jimmy Reno's fight with him is going to be the finale, but then you get the big crashing the compound, with Anthony DeLonge's character Ketchum, getting to tussle with him a little bit. And it's just the overall, like the 80s were such a special time, and like they knew what they were doing. I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing now, but they seem to get lost along the way sometimes. But like back then, like Marshall, I can't say enough. Marshall Teague said it great. He's like, we all came to film a movie and a fight broke out. So yeah, so overall, yeah. So here's where we're gonna announce. So overall, I got to give it to.
Yeah.
So I got to give it to my boy Patrick Swayze, and that is the ACTION-FLIX pick is the Roadhouse 1989, because you know why? Because it knew what it was, it knew what it wanted to be, and that's it. That I can't say it any more than that. All right, give me your closing thoughts, sir, and then
It's not just the ACTION-FLIX pick, it's the action nerd pick as well. Is the original
oh.
1989 overall enjoyment, because I yeah, exactly. It's like I enjoyed the movie. If you guys listen to my podcast episode with John and Charlie, I think we talked more the episode was longer talking about this movie than the actual movie itself. And if you can do that with a movie, you know
Yeah.
how enjoyable it is, or how the people talking about it enjoyed. I am actually, if people have been noticing, I've been purposely sitting like this so you could see my poster in the background. That's like
Yeah, I got
right
my
here,
yeah, I don't have a
and
poster,
you got
but I got my
but
there it is, everybody. Oh, such a
yeah, it's
pick
like
it if
so.
you and again, here's the commercial. If you have not picked this up, pick it up. It's from Vinegar Syndrome. So good. So many special features, interviews galore with the cast and crew. And can I just say Kelly Lynch looks just as amazing now as she did back in 1989.
Oh
There's an
yeah,
interview with
definitely.
her, and she just looks, oh my God, so good. Yep.
And I found out I should have my copy of that no later than Friday.
Oh,
So
very good. So yes. Oh,
so
good for
yeah,
you. You
I
have
found that out this morning. But
sweet.
overall enjoyment, it's the original for me. I do like uh the reimagining, the 2024. Um if people have listened to my podcast episode, or if we talked about the first episode I was on for this for the live stream, I mentioned Roadhouse 2 Last Call, as they call it
You
on
know
the
what?
cover.
I'm gonna watch that one again because I haven't seen it since it came out,
You
and we're
know,
gonna talk
I
about it.
think
We're gonna talk. I gotta talk about it. I gotta
we will
talk.
do that. We will.
I didn't get a picture
It,
for it. I should have got a picture for it to pop it up. But
if
Jonathan
we can
Cage,
wrangle
Jonathan
Charlie in, that
Cage
would be
is
even
Dalton's
better.
son in it, and Dalton's dead. And oh my God, such a train wreck. But Richard Norton's in it,
Yeah,
everybody, and he
Richard
does
Norton's in it.
karate and he does martial arts in it, so that's a good thing. But that's the only
Exactly.
good thing I remember from it. Oh, and Will Patton, who's such a good actor,
Oh
plays
yeah, Jake Busey being the villain.
Jake
So
Busey. Yes, Jake Busey's in it. He does a good job as the villain. I can remember that. But such a
and But it is a train wreck. They recreate scenes from the original for the sequel,
I gotta see it. Yeah,
but
I like I said, I haven't seen it in
you
so
got
long. Yeah, I've not.
if it's like after watching the sequel, John, I think your score for the reimagine for 2024 might bump up just a little bit, might equal up to
I
mine.
will say this though. I have seen people on social media and other action bloggers and critics say that the Roadhouse 2024 was such a mess. Oh my God, this, that, this. It's not a mess. I mean, like some people are
It's not a
saying, like
mess.
this is one of
No.
the worst movies of the year. I'm like, no, that's no. No, I mean, I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't love it. I mean, but I don't hate it. Like it's so hard to explain. Like I don't hate it, but it just really didn't like leave anything with me. But like some people are just saying it's such a train wreck. It's not. It's still an okay movie. Like I said, Gyllenhaal does a good job.
Hmm.
Everybody that's in the movie does a good job with what they're
Well, let
doing. But it's not like as bad as some people are making it out. I gave it a 3, which is
I
respectable. I you
yeah.
know I gave it a 3 out of 5, which isn't that bad. I just, in terms of me being excited for it, when I was done watching it, my excitement went away. That's all I'm saying.
I think what if people are saying this is the worst movie of the year, I think you guys got to reevaluate because a month ago, Madam Web came out,
I haven't seen that one.
and
So yeah, so if you watch that one, you could
nobody
probably be like,
saw
"Oh,
it.
this movie definitely
Nobody
sucks."
saw it.
Yeah,
And
nobody saw that
Madam
movie.
Web came out. Nobody saw that one at all. Nobody
Unless they went
wanted
to
to
see it
see
for
that one at all.
Dakota Johnson and what's her name?
Sydney
Sweetie.
Sweeney.
Sweetie, yeah,
Yeah.
who's good lord.
Which
She's
I
got
will
one of the
say, so
oh my god. I like she knows it too because anytime she's out in public, she's like I'm sorry, but you're showing it off. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Jesus
well,
Christ.
Sydney Sweeney, I will say this, she's from Spokane, Washington, where
Oh,
I
okay.
live. That's pretty cool. I loved seeing her Saturday Night Live cold open. She's like, "Yeah, you probably saw me in Anyone But You. Nobody saw me in Madam Web." I just laughed so hard with that. I'm like, and like YouTube now has clips from the movie, like, oh, the final fight at the end of the movie, or the closing scene of Madam Web. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no.
In its
And that
defense, I
movie
think it
didn't.
was butchered in post because I think the director even came out was like, yeah, I forget what her name was, the director of the movie, but I think she kind of pointed out that there was a lot of mishandling, which again goes back
They're
to like studio execs not knowing what the fuck they're doing when it comes to movies or what people
mhm.
want to see. But that's besides the point. So
So, but yeah, it's that one. Plus, I'd seen interviews with. I like Dakota Johnson as a actress. You give her the right thing, she does a great job in it. Uh, Me personally, the favorite thing I like to watch her of is How to Be Single, that romantic comedy she did a few years back. It's not the 50 Shades movies. It's another like smaller romantic comedy type movie, and she did a great job in that one. And seeing in interviews, you could just see her in the interviews not really caring about Madam Web. So
she's like, I got to do
yeah,
this
said a lot.
contractually. Contractually
Yeah,
obligated to do this. I have to talk about the movie.
I
That's what I'm
think that was
doing.
the issue with that. I think that was the issue was they felt like because apparently they did that movie so long ago that like Sydney Sweeney she's helped produce her own movies in a way, or she pitched them in a way. And she was like, "Yeah, it was because in an interview I watched today, she said that because of Madam Web and her building that relationship with Sony, she was able to do the movie Anyone But You, which oddly enough, filmed after Madam Web, came out before the movie and did way better."
Okay.
And and part of me, it's like with this one, I know they had more money because of the streaming. It, if I think they were like, okay, it's going to be streaming. The people, because I have read some of the same reviews. People are like it's a mess. Well, you know what? It's a movie for streaming. If they were going to release this theatrically, I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Doug Liman would have tried a lot harder for this movie to be a bit more coherent.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it still. I've been debating, not just for like talking about it. I've actually been personally debating about watching it again just for my own enjoyment.
Okay.
So,
I mean, like, will I revisit it? Yeah, I'll revisit it. I mean, like I said, I didn't hate the movie, and like I said, if anything, it might grow on me as I watch it. But just in
mhm.
terms of like actual enjoyment, I just didn't get like when I saw the original at the movie theater. Like that movie made you want to get into a bar fight afterwards, like because it was just so fucking awesome. I mean, here I just wanted to like go make dinner. After I was done watching it. I mean, no disrespect to the final fight or anything, but I was just like, yeah, but there's nothing Roadhouse about it. I mean, if you think about it, there really isn't. I mean, when it's about cleaning up a ruckus bar, it's
Mhm.
not even like the ruckus isn't even that bad in it. I mean, the ruckus in the original was pretty bad. Like this, like
They
I said, that Double Deuce was a shit show. Like when he pops up in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Like this one is not a shit show. It's got some bad elements, but it's not that bad. And then they're just scraping up some broken bottles on the floor when he comes in the next day. It's like the other
Mhm.
one, like the whole place was trashed, and it's like
Yeah, it was
there was nothing Roadhouse about it. There wasn't. It didn't seem like as extreme as in the original one, and that tainted it
you
too.
know, when the original they said they have to clean up blood every single night off the floor.
Yeah,
That
there's
tells
blood
you
and
how bad
eyeballs,
of a
and yeah,
place.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This one, it's
and
just like, yeah, there's a fight. We cleaned it up. It's over. It's
mhm,
like, so yeah,
and
yeah, that's another thing too. All right, so to sum it up, Shane and I, we both picked. Of course, I said it wasn't going to be a mystery at the beginning,
yeah,
or like when I announced this was my inaugural Center of the Ring episode, which one was going to be the winner because we already knew which one was going to be the winner. And I said, no disrespect to the Roadhouse 2024 because it's only been out for 3 days as opposed to Patrick Swayze's version that's been out since 1989. But yeah, so we picked the 1989 Roadhouse, and obviously,
yep,
we gave our defense, and it's a really a no brainer. I mean, in terms of action and in terms of enjoyment and in terms of it's just a manly movie as opposed to the new one. I mean, it's not as manly as the original. I mean, it is at some points, but then others, it's like a regular movie. I mean, it just
yeah,
is. Roadhouse 1989 is a man's man movie. I mean, women dig it too, obviously for Patrick Swayze and stuff
mhm,
like that too. But it's a man's movie. It's a manly movie, and Roadhouse 2024 it's a movie with fighting in it. And
yeah.
that's about it.
I think Charlie summed it up the best when we recorded for my podcast, saying that the original Roadhouse is a dude's movie. It's
Yeah, it's a
the
dude's movie. Yeah,
the
it's a manly
ultimate
man movie.
dude's movie.
Yeah.
And shit, I told you when I besides watching it for my show, I watched it the year before because my ex was like, "Oh, you just want to watch movies with shoot 'em up, nothing with romance." And I put this on as a way of going, "Ha ha ha, shut up." And
There's not that
there's
much
romance.
romance in this.
There's not that much romance,
There's
but
like
there's still
5
some
minutes of romance.
but
But there is.
you still kind
You're
of get the
you're correct.
romance.
Yeah, there is. There. Yes, you are
And,
correct, sir. There is some romance in it. Yes.
and basically the romance in the 2024 one was, "Oh, I blinked, where'd it go?"
Ugh,
So
so
I,
bad.
I
So
enjoyed it.
bad.
I'm still not saying I'm not slamming on it. I'm saying I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
Was it
You
my
gave it a
favorite? No.
3.5. So yeah, like I said, I gave it a
Yeah, I gave it
3.
3.5.
But I did bump it up from a 2.5 because of the fight. I did. I would have given it a 2
I
point.
will
I would have
say
gave it a
though,
2.5 if the finale let me down and I was disappointed in it. But I was not as a avid decades long action movie lover with over 40 years
mhm,
experience and as a martial artist with over 30 years experience, I enjoyed the finale and that's why I bumped it up to a 3.
yeah,
But other than that, in terms of action, is nothing to write home about because there isn't any. There is actually nothing to write home about because there's one other scene closer to the beginning, and then we get a few little eats and pieces, and then that's the. He does beat some
I
people up on the boat too. I
oh yeah,
mean, there is like a skirmish on the boat, and he beats he goes through some people and stuff like that. But again, like I said, the finale was it. That was it.
mhm,
That's all we had. Where in the original we had it was peppered all throughout the movie. Like God, Lord,
oh
it
yeah.
was so much peppered throughout the movie that
I will I'll come to the defense of 2024 as we're almost 4 months into the year, people. It's not the worst movie in the year. We still have the like 3/4 of the year to come. Uh, shit. I will say this, as of right now, because I haven't seen a whole lot of movies that have come out this year. This is probably going to be as of right now in my top five. It's probably more like the top two or three for 2024. Because
It's
I'll
the top
flat
2
out
or
say this
3 for
right.
you of 2024?
Well, right now it's like for movies that have come out in 2024.
Okay.
In my defense, there it's like as of right now for movies that I've seen in 2024, like Dune Part Two is number one. It's number one right now. And other movies I've seen, I don't think they came out in 2024. I think they
Well, you
came out
haven't
last
seen
year,
either of
and
these, but right now, my toss-up for number 1 action movie of 2024 is Beekeeper or Land of Bad. That's
yeah,
like,
it's like once I see those,
that's
I
my
know the numbers
toss-up.
will change.
Yeah. But
The numbers
I
will
can tell
change.
you right now, I can equivocally tell you now, at the end of the year, Roadhouse 2024 would not be in my top 5. I'm sorry. It's
It's
just
not going to
it
be in the
won't be.
top five, no. It
Nope.
might be in the top 10, but no, like, look at this Friday. We have Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire coming out.
Already
I'm a
getting bad reviews,
huge
people.
Godzilla fan.
Already getting the bad reviews.
Oh,
Can't wait. That you know what
you know,
that means? That means I'm gonna love it because I love bad movies. So I'm all for it.
I was gonna, I'm gonna say this: the only person's reviews that I care about are my own. Shit. I'll show an example. Godzilla right here, people,
Oh,
from
yeah.
this toy line.
He's tiny. He was a Christmas tree ornament at one time, but I kept him.
Now,
You know,
this is
this is out of my divorce.
the
I got
hollow earth.
this guy out of my divorce or my impending divorce. Is this guy that was on my Christmas tree? Don't worry. Once I start, once my income is more, stable, I'm
Hmm.
definitely going to get a better looking both Godzilla and Kong to put somewhere in my establishment right now. But all I
Oh yeah.
do, but I can't stop buying Snake Eyes because I love Snake Eyes so much, and I just keep buying. Like I got Snake Eyes like literally like all over the place, like and Storm Shadow, and right now Storm Shadow
I
is being
think I
hidden
might.
by Roadhouse, but there's Storm, and then I got
Yeah.
them back there from the movie, and then I got a poster Snake Eyes. I got another poster Snake Eyes. I got to stop buying Snake Eyes stuff, but I can't because I love the character so much.
Oh yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But it's because yeah, it's Landa. Once I actually get more money because starting a new job, I
Yes.
might be like, okay, The Beekeeper, probably one of the first movies I'll buy on digital, and then probably Land Bad because I've seen the trailer for that one. That does look
Listen,
incredible.
all I got to tell you is if you do not like, because I know the Beekeeper is more prominent in terms of awareness because Jason Statham and David Ayer who directed it, who's a great director.
Mhm.
He's underrated, let me tell you, but he's such a good
Oh yeah,
director.
very much so.
But yeah, but Land of Bad, so good. Like I said, it's a sleeper hit. Like it did play in the theaters. I was able to see it because it played in Panama City Beach. It played in the Pier 16, which is Pier Park in Panama City Beach. I got to see it on the big screen, but it did not have a wide release. It is now on digital, but if you
Hmm.
do not like Land of Bad, you do not like action movies. It's so good. Liam Hemsworth does a good job. Russell Crowe steals the show, and Milo Ventimiglia, I talked about it before. He steals the show. Like you don't consider him an action guy, but he has the most
No,
he has the most fuck yeah moments in this movie as one of the Delta guys. Oh, it's so good.
I
It's so good.
it's like, well, I'll give Milo Ventimiglia. Sorry, I know I probably butchered the last name, but
Ventimiglia, yeah,
Milo.
Ventimiglia,
He,
I think, yeah.
he did great in the show Heroes. He
He did.
did
He
a
was in
good
Rocky
job
Balboa. He
playing
played Rocky's son in Rocky
exactly
Balboa.
Rocky Balboa and Creed 2. He was in both of those.
Yes.
Uh, shit, he did a decent job playing a scumbag against Jason Statham in Wild
Wild
Card.
card. Yeah, but he didn't put up
So
much of
yeah,
a fight in that movie. He
no, he
didn't
didn't,
show
but
he didn't show
still,
his action chops in that one because he got his ass handed to him. But yeah,
yeah. But
he was a dick. He was a dick, that's for sure. Yeah.
like I said, we're almost 4 months into the year now, and it's barely started. People, barely any movies. Wait till the summertime. We gotta get hit with a bunch of other stuff. I know the Craven movie. Craven the
Oh,
Hunter
that looks
still.
good. That looks so good. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
got we're still got to wait for that.
Deadpool versus
With
Wolverine. I think Deadpool versus
Deadpool
Wolverine is
versus
going to
Wolf.
bring the MCU out of its doldrums. I think they're finally going to, because we
I
all
hope
know
so.
the MCU has been suffering with the piss poor shit that they've been putting out lately. But I think this is going to resurrect the MCU, and Craven is Sony's answer to Madam Web. They're like, oh yeah, we
Hmm.
totally fumbled the ball with Madam Web. Here you go with with Craven the Hunter, because it's R-rated, it's badass, it's graphic, and
Yeah,
I just love that they did that with the character, because I'm a fan
yeah.
of the character of the comic book. So, yeah,
Well, shit. The movie that came out this last week. Uh, Not a whole lot of people action wise have said because it's not really an action movie. Ghostbusters, the new
Frozen
Ghostbusters
Empire,
movie.
Frozen Empire.
Yeah, Frozen Empire. I fucking love the Ghostbusters movies. I love them.
Yeah, so
And
do I.
you know, I was gonna say I don't have it. Sadly, I think it's. Oh nope, nope, it's right here. Hold on, bear with me, people. I got Ray Stantz from Ghostbusters. I love Dan Aykroyd in the movies. I thought he was absolutely hilarious. Uh like me being the action nerd, I do research on the stuff, and I found out that his mom and dad were actual paranormal investigators. So everything that he says in the movies, he legitimately knows what he's talking about, and he legitimately believes this stuff.
Which is
Because his folks did the research,
I
and
just love
he lived it.
I just love Bill Murray's Bill Murray's so awesome.
Bill Murray
And
too.
like his lines, like you're right, nobody would stack books like this. I mean, he's just so fucking like sarcastic. I just love him, and it's just
That's
he
right,
was always my
sir. This
favorite. He
man
was always my
has no
favorite.
dick. I was gonna say, the line he said was in the original was like, "That's right, sir. This man has no dick."
Yeah. Dogs and cats
So,
sleeping together, mass hysteria. Oh,
oh
so
yeah,
good. He's so good in that. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see the Frozen Empire either. I'm a fan. I love the last one, Afterlife, and the
yep.
original
Afterlife was
Ghostbusters
great.
are in this one more, so
Hmm.
that's gonna make it even
That,
better.
yeah, I'm
So
happy about that. I you know I because like I said during the review, they're probably gonna do a sequel. This they pretty much the ending of this movie was sequel baby. I just hope they tighten it up a bit more. Like you don't need to give Dalton a love interest. You can, or give him what I really think that could have made this movie a hell of a lot better was the Wade Garrett character. They could have thrown him in and gone, "Oh, this is what I can't do this job anymore because I'm older. You're the new next generation, basically. But let me give you my experience of doing this."
yes, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
definitely would have helped to have like a seasoned veteran.
yeah,
Like, there's not, I mean, obviously he's an MMA fighter, but it's like that would have gave some more believability to the
hmm
Dalton's character. Like, just going into like him knowing like bouncer stuff, and
yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, that's true too. I mean,
So yeah, it's like I think that's what was
like, if
kind
they
of
had
missing because
established that that's what he did afterwards, like, once, like,
yeah,
he was a disgraced UFC fighter, so once he got out, like, that's what he was doing to make ends meet, was he turned into a bouncer. Not even a cooler, not even, like, the
exactly.
best cooler in the business, like Patrick Swayze was, just a bouncer, so that way it gave him some cred, like, going into the Roadhouse and, like, knowing,
But
what to do.
I I will say this above all else, Jake Gyllenhaal put in the work.
Yes.
That's what
Oh,
did it for me.
absolutely,
He put in
absolutely.
the work. He didn't
I love Jake
like phone
Gyllenhaal
it
in it.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, he did it. He put in the work. He put in the physical work. He put in the acting work. He didn't really have any comedic elements, which I know his in previous. Yeah, just like I said, I gotta say, fuck you for having the 12-pack abs. You could bring on the Tonight Show, he was actually asked, "How in the hell did you get 12-pack abs?" So and
Mhm.
yeah, it's like you could see you kind of get the Dalton-esque, presence here in this picture, but Swayze. But Jake's Jake Gyllenhaal is young enough still.
Mhm.
He's just like a few years older than me. He's still young enough, still has the body, still has the time to get to the Patrick Swayze type Dalton. Because, like I said, I could see this as a trilogy of movies. The second one where he gets a little bit better, but in the third one, he's Dalton the cooler. And then I could see the joke of, "I thought you'd be bigger."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they didn't do that, which I kind of would have liked to have done something like that, just like the ultimate homage to the original Roadhouse, like
mhm.
do something like that. But they did. They did their little, the Roadhouse, the burger place next door with the best key lime pie and glass key floor. I'm like
Yep.
double deuce, yeah, it's like, but and then the book, the one guy pointed out like the one book was referenced to Wade Garrett, and it's like subtle.
Mhm.
And then when he first meets Ellie for the first time, like he says nobody ever wins a fight, but that's the only thing out of it that he says.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same type of scene, but it's different because they didn't like just redo the whole scene and everything, which is good. So there's subtle
exactly.
nuances, which is good. It doesn't slap you in the face, which I
You know,
enjoy.
I would have liked if they would have, like I said, idea for a trilogy is have Dalton learn the ropes a little bit, give him kind of like a Wade Garrett in the next one, and then in the third one, have him come back to the Roadhouse because it's gone really to shit, and Frankie needs him to help save it, and like different elements from the original are now affecting in the third one. Have Knox come back as this like the quiet muscle like Jimmy was, but bring in Billy Magnuson's character's father as the main, like as Brad Wellesley in a way. That'd be
Do
cool
you
if they
know, like,
actually
not
did.
that like Conor McGregor wasn't okay in it, but I'm just throwing this out here for his next opponent.
Scott Atkins, fuck yeah. I will.
You heard it here first,
I am a.
people. I'm endorsing Scott
I.
Atkins for
Yep.
the
I
role,
love
or
Scott
not
Atkins.
even the
He is.
villain, just like Dalton's best
Have him
buddy.
be Wade Garrett. Have him be Wade Garrett.
Yes, yes, have him be.
Have Scott
Yes,
Atkins be Wade
thank you.
Garrett.
Oh, you brought up such a good point, and yes, because we
Have
all know
him
Scott's
be
a little
Wade
older
Garrett.
than Jake Gyllenhaal is, so yes, the mentor
Yeah.
thing could work. Yes,
Yes. Exactly. Have him be Wade
Scott,
Garrett.
if you're
Be like, I
watching,
can still.
make this
Yes.
happen. Yes,
Make it happen.
make
Have
this
him be
happen,
Wade Garrett. Um, yeah,
or even
like
this
I said,
guy, Jason
I don't know
Statham.
about Jason Statham.
Why not?
I honestly, I love Jason Statham. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, people. He is one of my favorite action stars. He is on my Mount Rushmore. It's Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Jason Statham, uh, Scott Atkins, and Michael Jai White for me. If those men come out with
Oh,
movies,
Michael Jai
I
White.
tend to see
Like
it.
we
Yep.
could do a show on just who we want to see in the Roadhouse sequel to make it better.
Exactly, but I would you saying Scott Atkins in the sequel, have him be Wade Garrett, and,
Oh, that would. I
have
mean,
hi
either that
yeah,
or the bad
have
guy.
him be Wade Garrett.
I'll take him as the mentor
You know,
or the bad
I
guy
think
or
he'd
the
be
main
better
guy.
as the mentor. I honestly think he'd be better as the mentor. Don't get me wrong, Scott has done a great job at playing villains, but I think if you wanna get it up to the next level, have him be the mentor. Have him be like, "Oh, this is what you wanna do," do, because he did a great job last year as Killa and, John Wick 4. I love what it basically, here's the thing, if I know Scott Atkins is in a movie, I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna pick it up, or, like, I'm not having a job. I couldn't pick up One More Shot. I've been looking forward to that. Just found out that he did, like, a home invasion movie, and I'm like, "How the hell did I miss that?"
Yeah, that's a lesser known one. Yeah, he's the bad guy in it. I mean, he does a little bit
Yeah,
like a little bit of physical stuff in it, but he's more or less just menacing in it, and he's just an asshole
he
in
does
that
a
one.
great job being menacing,
Yeah.
and, you know, I love Scott Atkins. He's a great actor. He's a great action star,
I love Scott. I
and
got to talk. I've talked to Scott Atkins like 8 or 9 times already. I'm due to talk to Scott Atkins. It's been a while. The last time I talked to Scott Atkins, I forget it was for shit. I even forget what it was for. But yeah, such a great guy, so humble, and I mean, and here's the thing: Scott Atkins needs to be a bigger action star than he is. And it's I don't understand why Hollywood won't put him in a headlining role in an action movie. But if you're not going to put him in a
uh,
headlining role, put him in a role where he's opposite Jake Gyllenhaal or somebody, or
yes,
like, and have him do his thing
yes,
for everybody to see, and not in a big fat
have him
suit, like he was in John Wick
No.
Chapter 4, which he did a great job. I love the character. He was funny. And again, he demonstrated his acting prowess, which has gone above
Yep.
and beyond since when he first started. And he did, and him doing the martial arts in that fat suit was awesome. He was still great. But
Mhm.
we need to see
Yeah.
Scott Adkins opposite Jake Gyllenhaal, looking like Scott Adkins does, doing what Scott Adkins can
Yep.
do. That's what we would. That's
You
what
know, I would like I said, it's like put him
I'll
as
show.
like Wade
I can't
Garrett
watch this
and
enough. Like,
yeah, it's like have him be Wade Garrett, but during one of the fights, have him do the Guyver kick that he's known for, and just have Jake go, "Are you sure you're slowing down?"
oh,
That
here's
type of
another
thing.
one. Here's another one. John Bernthal.
John Bernthal. Have John Bernthal be the villain. Have John
Yeah. All
Bernthal
right.
be the villain.
Hollywood, are you
Scott
listening?
Atkins as the
Scott
mentor.
Adkins as the Wade Garrett mentor and John Berthel as the asshole bad guy. There you go. Look,
Exactly.
look,
Yep.
look, look,
We
even John
There you
approves.
go,
Even
Amazon.
John
There
approves.
you
He's like,
go,
yep,
Amazon.
there
We
you go.
just cast your next Roadhouse movie.
And put him in just for the hell of it. Why not? He's still acting. He can
That
still fight.
no, no, I was gonna say that is Ben's father on the phone.
Yeah, look at that. We're already casting the sequel. Look at that. We should get paid for this.
Yep,
Oh,
yep, yep. No, just
oh my
two
god.
guys goofing around and nerding out on action movies. Yep,
Yep, there we
yep.
go.
I've been wanting to see that movie. I've been uh eh, I remember many years ago, I think Owen put it on the Action Elite right before Expendables 2 trailer came out, or it was even known who some of the actors were, saying that Scott Atkins was going to be the next Jason Statham. And lo and behold, Scott Atkins was I actually saw that in an article. I can't remember if it was on Owen's website or where I read it, but they were saying that Scott Atkins is the next Jason Statham because Jason's a little older and they're like, he's not gonna be able to do some of the action stuff. But, I think the
Statham is in
response to that
phenomenal
was
shape.
expendable.
I'll say this until my
Oh,
dying day. He could do it for another 20 years and move like he's moving.
oh yeah,
That's
exactly.
all.
I'm like, s- I have to agree with a line that The Rock said in it wasn't an action movie at all. It was like a comedy drama,
Look, the guy's
fighting
in
with my family.
55. This is from The Beekeeper. I
Yes,
mean,
he's
he's phenomenal.
55 and he can
Yeah,
do stuff like that.
yeah.
And, you know, I have to agree with a line The Rock said, like I said in the movie, the fighting with my family. Don't be the next me. Be the first you.
There you go. There you go.
So
So, okay, Hollywood, you listening? Here we go. We got Scott Adkins. We
as
got
Wade Garrett. Yep.
John Berthal. And fuck it, just throw this guy in just somewhere, just so we have like this all-star Expendables type sequel.
Okay. Here, this is what I'm now thinking.
uh,
Elwood Dalton, Jake Gyllenhaal, Wade Garrett, played by Scott Atkins, Jimmy Ringo, John Bernthal, Scott, and have Jason Statham as Brad Wesley.
yeah. And that way, the fight with Brad Wesley would actually be a good fight because he would actually
Yes.
put up a fight.
Yeah.
No offense to the late great Ben Gazzara, but there was no
No, it's
match.
like no
Like,
offense to him.
I mean, the only reason why
He
Ben
did a
Gazzara
great
gave
job.
that Dolan a run for his money because he was already injured. Like Dolan was injured, like he was already
I think,
bleeding. So it's like,
Ben Gazzara did the intimidation villain because
yes, and he did it
there's
so well, so well.
yeah, there's two types of villains. There's the physical villain and then there's the thinker villain. And Ben Gazzara was the thinker villain.
Oh,
And
absolutely, without
Marshall
a
Teague
doubt,
was the physical villain.
absolutely.
So yeah, it's like there you go, people. That's it. We just cast your next Roadhouse movie.
What was this episode about? I forgot. That was so long ago.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
Center of
it
the
was the
Ring. Oh yeah,
versus
we
the
chose a
center of the
winner.
ring.
Yeah, we chose a
Yep,
winner,
it Roadhouse 1989.
and we nerd out and start talking about a bunch of other
Oh yeah.
shit because that's how we are. That's how we
Well,
roll. That's
yep.
right.
It's like Dylan, you son of a bitch. And I just have to say R.I.P. to Carl Weathers. I loved seeing him and stuff. You know, yep. Now you're pissing me off. Yep. That's like R.I.P. I was really sad to
Mm.
read when he passed away. I
Oh
was like,
my god,
oh,
such devastation. Yeah, he's one that like you were just devastated. Like you didn't know him, but you did because of like you
Mhm.
grew up with him, and he was such a great guy, and but you were just as devastated as his friends and family were devastated.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious in Arrested Development when he played himself, kind of like he's on the bus because he doesn't have a whole lot of money now, and he one of the characters goes, I would like to hire you as my acting teacher. How much money you got? $40. Okay, that's what I charge.
You met my price. Good for you.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, so there you go, everybody. The inaugural episode of Center of the Ring, where 2 movies enter, only 1 movie leaves. So this time, again, it was a no-brainer. Who was going to walk out the champion in its Roadhouse 1989? But we've gone on and elaborated what we want for a sequel. One, it's got to be bigger and badder. My
Hmm.
God, put fucking fighting in it for God's sakes, because it's a Roadhouse
Exactly.
movie, and we've already we freaking already like cast it for you. So I mean, obviously you got obviously you
Yeah.
got this guy coming back as Dalton, and then I got to say it again. Here's his mentor, and here's just for the hell of it, because why the hell not? And then
Yep.
and then we got John Berthel as the bad guy. There
Hmm.
we go, everybody. We made you a movie. And who knows if they actually listen to us and do that, it might be my most favorite movie ever. Who the hell knows? I couldn't tell you. All right, sir. Anything to plug or get away with before we end
You
this
know,
session?
I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I gotta say, Big Brother Mike Scott on Action for Everyone, him, Vice Victus, and Liam O'Donnell. Oh, there's my dog saying hello to everybody.
Hi. My cat's been running around here. You
So
just don't see him because he's on the floor. Oh, hello.
they
Oh, look
did.
at you. You're
They
a
were talking.
sweetie.
Yeah, they release a new episode of their podcast, Action for Everyone, uh, every Sunday. So they came up with a new episode actually discussing Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
Uh, you know. All right, go. Here's the bit.
He's hogging the
I got
camera now.
yep. He's a big ham. I gotta say, you know, it's like if you haven't seen the movie and you're watching this, what the hell are you doing? Go watch Roadhouse 2024. I enjoyed it. I did like it, but when you kind of compare it to the original, there's no no holds barred. There's no comparison really. Um,
Listen, if there wasn't an
y-
original, I mean, and again, I can't, I couldn't do it. I couldn't look at it.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, I had to. The original was in my mind the whole time. If there wasn't an original, if this movie just came out, and I probably would have gave it like a 3.5, or I
Hmm.
definitely would not have
Yeah,
given it a
three.
4, because good lord, you gotta. There's so much that needed to be fixed with it.
Yeah, I gotta set. I still have to meet him, but I gotta shout out Owen and the Action Elite. Check out their site. Great site. Check out
Look at you plugging other people.
actionflix.com.
I told you to plug
Oh
yourself, and you're
yeah, I'm
plugging other
plugging.
people.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay,
I'm
eventually.
friend of ours, Charlie, on Give Me Back My Action Horror podcast. Uh, I was trying to. I will say this. I was trying to convince Charlie in a way to try to come in and join this because I had a feeling he would have enjoyed it. But he was like, "You got to give me more than a couple days notice, buddy." It's like, ah, shit. But check out my show, The Action Nerd, Dudes Being Dudes, talking about movies, which is on any podcaster that you can find. Still fighting with Spotify, but I get the feeling I'm gonna win eventually. Yeah, it's like where I've done interviews, with celebrity interviews, interviews with toy lines. Uh, I got his newest book, interview with a buddy, Sean Michael Argo, who wrote the book series Necrospace that turned into the show Savage Marines, starring Casper Van Dien and his wife, Ginny Winger, who I've done an episode with. I gotta actually, that reminds me, I need to text Ginny, see how she's doing, because I can do that. But, check out John's website, the ACTION-FLIX.
Oh, please do.
Uh,
I mean, this is my show. Freaking yeah. I mean, it's like,
yeah, it's like, I have a blast doing this. I'm glad I get the opportunity to join you, like, twice a week, 3 times a week, sometimes to do this type of thing. You know, I have a blast doing it,
Me too.
and
It's always more fun
yeah,
to
it's
talk to
like
somebody than yourself. I mean,
yeah,
eventually people will hear it, or some people will hear it. But yeah, it's like
hmm
it's always more fun to have a conversation with people. It's like it's just the way it is.
exactly.
Look, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes we've been doing this. People have probably shut off and gone to sleep. But hey, we're still talking. We're still talking about action movies. So
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, it's like check out my podcast. It is a little hard to hear in the beginning part, but I do figure things out.
what's
But
that? It's a
I was
little
gonna
what's
say it's a little hard because I hadn't mastered editing or even attempted to learn editing audio at the
Hey, I'm
time.
learning too. I mean, I'm in progress too. Let me tell you. I mean, I've definitely gotten better
So,
than when I first started doing this, but it is what
oh
I
yeah,
still like the way. I mean, I like what I'm doing. People like what I'm doing. I mean, I hear it all the time. So it's
hmm
like I don't have the flashy,
uh,
editing or the, like the video editing and stuff like that. So I just do what I can with them because again, it costs money to do this. It's like,
oh yeah,
you gotta pay for the website, you gotta pay for StreamYard, and it's like I'm plus now I'm single. It's like, and I have daughters, it's like I can't just blow money on stuff. So I just do what I can. So I
yep,
find the cheap ways to do things and still make it look like a decent product. And there you go.
yep.
That's good for me.
Another shout out I will say is to Jake Gyllenhaal. Keep up the hard work. Keep doing it. What
Jake, yeah,
shows
I'm
that you?
sorry I didn't
Yep,
like love your movie. I love you and I love your performance. I thought you did the
yep.
role of Dalton justice, and I liked your interpretation of the character and how different it was and everything. Like I said, and again, it's out of your hands, like in terms of the rest of the movie. It's just that's where I had my issues. And your fight with Conor McGregor at the end was phenomenal, but it's just at the end of the
hmm
day, it's not memorable. I mean, I just don't see this being memorable, like, or like,
And
being
anybody,
around 30 years from now.
it's like anybody who wants to fight me or argue with me at all, action nerd podcast at
I
gmail.com.
I say it
Hit
all the
me
time.
up on there.
People like message me on social media and like tell me I'm wrong or just say something's garbage without elaborating. I always message them back and be like, "Come on the show and argue with me." And nobody ever takes up my challenge though. I wonder why. It's like because
I
maybe
don't
I know
know.
what I'm
I get
talking
the feel.
about and you won't win. So it's like don't even bother.
I, I get the feeling it's like when we're gonna get to that one subject where you're gonna feel strongly for one way and I'm gonna feel strongly the other way. It's gonna be a good episode, good argument. If when because there's gonna be some action movies I don't like, or there's gonna be some you don't like, and we're
Okay.
gonna be like on the opposite ends. So,
Why? We're friends and we're respectful. I mean, we're
oh,
not
I
gonna
know,
call
I
each
know.
other
It's
assholes.
well, it's. I was gonna say
I'm
no.
not
It's
gonna
the
tell
whole
you you're a
like
fucking idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I don't believe in what you're saying, but it's like
exactly, exactly. But no, I was gonna say,
you're
you
wrong,
might not believe.
but you're a nice
But
guy. It's like
exactly, I could be wrong on something and still be a nice guy.
there you
But
go.
that's how people get better with conversations
Yep.
and getting to know people.
Yep. Yep. All right. So is that it? Are you done plugging other people?
That's it. I'm good. I'm done whoring myself out and like some of our buddies.
All right, like I said, don't forget to check out my website, actionflix.com. There it is. The review we did a couple days ago for Roadhouse is up there. Perfect
Yep.
Weapon. I'm sorry, 4K restoration on Blu-ray. It's not a 4K Blu-ray. My bad. Is coming out in May. Monkey Man. Oh my God, there's another one in April.
That's what's
It's
up.
coming
That's what I'm
beginning of
looking
April.
forward to.
That's another
And
one.
and
Yes.
Boy Kills World. Boy
Oh
Kills World.
yes. Alan Delabi. I interviewed him on Friday. That's out now on the YouTube as well as the website. Such a great man. So nice, so humble. And of course, Scott Adkins criticizes the CGI fights in Roadhouse. And if anybody's going to criticize it, that's the man to do it
Gotta be
because
him.
he
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about. So
Yep. It,
so check out my website. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. That's how we keep going, and that's how maybe one day I can actually like start making money where I could even do more things and good things like that. And but it all starts with word of mouth, getting around, like And I appreciate That Fat Samurai Guy. Shout out to That Fat Samurai Guy who does his thing over on YouTube, has so many followers, does an awesome job with his videos. I'm on his show all the time. I was just on it last week for the verses where we did Eastern Condors versus Bullet in the Head. Such a nice guy. Always was checking in on me, when I was when I was really in bad states a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But another guy to check out and always advertises for me. So I'm going to advertise. Not that he needs he doesn't need me advertising for it because he's got more people than I do, but I'm still gonna
I was gonna say it was a good episode. I've never seen That Fat Samurai until you said you were gonna do an episode.
There you go.
When I
See,
got
Samurai,
home from
I gave you another fan. Look at that. Look at that.
yeah, it's like after I got home from my orientation, I logged right in. I was even texting you during the episode, going, "I see you."
Yeah, he texted me. He's like, "You disappeared." I came back. I'm like, "I had to go to the bathroom." I'm like, so I was like, "It happens.
Yep.
It happens."
But,
Plus, I knew I wasn't gonna be talking for a while, so I'm like, "This is my opportunity." And so it's like, I gotta go potty. So I'm back now. All right. Well, we've gone on long enough. It's
oh yeah.
It's well, it's 9:17 here, so it's it's only 7:17 where you are, so it's still early yet.
Still, it's gonna be pretty soon getting to bed for me because
Yes, you
I
got
gotta
to
be
get up
up
and go to
3 in the
work.
morning.
Well, I don't.
Yeah,
Well, tomorrow I'm okay, but I get my little girl on tomorrow, so I got to get up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to take her to school. So that gives me
I was
something
gonna
to do.
say I was gonna say that's awesome still, man. It's like when you can get your kids, that's awesome.
The only problem is
Like it
driving
was
with
my
this thing on because it's not easy.
oh, I bet
I went to
I bet.
Walmart the other day and it's just down the road, but I can just see me driving 20 minutes to go get my girl. Yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. So until then, the next episode, I don't know when, but it will happen. Son of the Ring. I'm going to be doing Red Dawn 1984 versus Red Dawn 2012. We all know Patrick Swayze again was in the original Red Dawn, and then Chris Hemsworth took over for the remake, which I thoroughly enjoyed for different reasons that I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's going to be a little harder for me because I do love the original, being that, of course, I saw it in theaters when it came out, and I've seen it so many times. And I was a fan of the remake when it did come out, as a lot of people were not, but that's the way it is.
Yep.
So that's going to be the next Son of the Ring. So a much tougher decision this time around than we did for episode number 1, where we have Patrick Swayze yet again making another appearance against Chris Hemsworth, whose little brother Liam is rocking it in Land of Bad right now. If you have not seen that movie, watch it because it is a man's man movie. Like, there's really no women or anything in it, but that's besides the point. All right, Shane, anything to add before I sign off?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm just having fun, and I'm glad to be here.
All right. Okay. Until next time, everybody, remember actionflix.com. We are your ultimate destination for your action fix and the action nerd dudes being dudes talking movies with Shane, the action nerd Logans. And check out his last couple episodes because I'm on it. So I bring some respectability to it. And of course, Charlie from Give Me Back My Action and Horror Movies is on it too. We talk about the original Roadhouse as well. And then we also talk about the state of action movies and action stars in general. So until next time, everybody, be kind to one another, treat others as you would want to be treated, and just enjoy action. And like I always say, before I sign off, Shane, I actually got one guy. I always say that, like, hey, everybody, give me like a mailbag, like, give me like stuff you want me to talk about. One guy has given me like all these questions. So next time we're on, I'm gonna have to. His name's Tan. I'll give a shout out. So Tan, if you're watching, one, thank you for your support, and I did not negate your questions that you've been sending me over the past few weeks. I have gotten them. It's just a matter of when to put them in the show. But he's asked me a lot of questions that we'll have a lot of good ones too, actually, that we're going to have to get into. But like I always say, if you want to see something specific on the show, give me some of your thoughts about future Son of the Ring episodes, but nobody ever does. It's like, I'm just like, okay,
I got a couple ideas myself. So
all right, well, we'll talk off air about it. But yeah, number 2 is going to be Red Dawn versus Red Dawn. 2 movies again that are pretty much the same premise, but totally different ways of execution, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's number 2. So until then, remember actionflix.com. We are your destination for your ultimate destination for your action fix. Good night, everybody.